It's the Saturday Five.
You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Questions for the government on Britain's relationship with China.
The Deputy National Security Advisor has stated China's intelligence services are running large-scale espionage operations against the UK.
Well, he's warned those efforts threaten Britain's economic prosperity and the integrity of our democracy, but added the UK remains committed to a positive relationship with Beijing.
Well, the statements come as part of the collapsed China spy case against two men accused of passing secrets to Beijing, charges that were dropped last month.
Well, this all comes as former government advisor Dominic Cummings says China has accessed highly classified information in a security breach that the government covered up. Should the threat to the UK be taken more seriously?
The Institute for Fiscal Studies paints a grim picture for the Chancellor as she faces Groundhog Day with more spending cuts and tax rises expected next year.
Concerns are raised over the state of our schools, with repair bills in Northern Ireland that could be up to £800 million.
Building things, and this way I can build some beautiful things and This, again, has never been built, and we're going to start that pretty soon.
Donald Trump reveals big building plans for Washington, D.C. ahead of America's 250th anniversary next year.
More accusations against Prince Andrew. Virginia Giuffre's Beyond the Grave autobiography claims he was entitled and saw sex with her as a birthright.
And it's just a week until the Caerphilly by-election. We've been speaking to locals, hearing about the issue at the top of their agenda.
And sport this morning. Okay, it's a quiet morning. Premier League edged closer to limiting clubs with a spending cap. Great Britain's basketball team is banned from international matches. And sumo wrestling comes to London.
Another fairly drab day for most. Dry and cloudy sums it up. There will be a few light showers here and there. Equally, there'll be a few sunny spells here and there. Join me later for a full forecast to find out what you'll get today.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. How would you like to try a £30 ready meal that you put in the microwave? Would you spend £30 on a ready meal?
No, I wouldn't. No.
It's got to be good, isn't it? 30 quid?
It's got to be good. It's got to
How
be
many courses are
restaurant
there?
Quality. One.
One, £30.
Why would you spend 30 quid on a ready meal?
Well, it serves two, but I'd say one.
Yeah, they never serve family size.
never serve.
Yeah, a serves two is always one, isn't it?
It's
always
definitely
one.
for one.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is Charlie Bingham. You know him. He'll be in lots of supermarkets. He does the ready meals.
Right.
Anyway, he started a new range. So he says fewer and fewer people are going out to restaurants because it's so expensive to eat in restaurants, but people want restaurant quality at home. So he thinks you still want to spend lots of money on having
No, you're mad, Charlie.
I don't...
You haven't got a clue,
I don't
Charlie.
know if that's right.
Does that come with a waiter?
Also, you would hope so, wouldn't you? So beef Wellington, £29.
Oh, that's my favourite.
Is
Do
it?
you like a beef
that's
Wellington?
my favourite. I love a beef
At
Wellington.
30 quid, I think that's a lot.
They are
Even
expensive.
in a restaurant, that's a lot.
They are. Beef Wellington always is expensive.
Yeah.
But it's pastry around a piece of meat, for crying out loud.
I know.
Yeah, but it would be a lot. If you saw that for 29 quid on a restaurant menu, you'd say, that's a bit
Yeah,
pricey.
you would.
I think that's
Wouldn't
not
mind
even in
doing
a
it.
restaurant, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a main course in a restaurant for 29 quid
30
sounds
quid.
like quite a lot.
And then to bring her... So what is it? Does it come with other bits?
No,
or
that's your lot. A salmon Wellington at $19.95 and a coq au vin for $16.95. So there you
Crazy.
go. You'd obviously need your sides as well.
Yeah, they're not going to sell, Charlie.
Well, let's see. He seems to think
not.
people would spend that money.
And that is for... That's for two, right? So for
two,
one.
technically.
They say for two, but
Yeah,
right.
definitely one of those. Let us know, would you buy a £30 ready meal?
I know the answer's no.
Yeah, of course it's no.
Yeah, some people are foodies and they'd spend that, wouldn't they?
A lot of money, though, for a home.
To put it in a microwave. gbnews.com/you'll say.
I don't like microwave meals anyway.
Do you not?
I always put them in the oven, even if it says microwave.
Because you don't get the crisp.
You don't get the
get the
crunch.
crisp.
So true. Have you got a
From the
kitchen at the moment,
microwave.
or have you ripped it out?
No, we've got the kitchen.
All right.
It's just everything else in the house we don't have.
Right, got you. So Stephen's doing a renovation at the moment, and so am I, but I've been kitchenless for over a month.
Oh, you're going to have to come round to mine for dinner again.
Yeah.
Crying out loud. How long is this going on for?
Guys, I need some invites. Even my own mother hasn't invited me for dinner.
Don't blame her. Have you met yourself?
I've been living off takeaway.
This is the woman who messaged me last night and said, can we wear baby pink tomorrow?
This is baby
And
pink.
she came in and said, this is baby pink. It's
It
beige.
definitely is.
It's beige.
It's beige.
It's even got a pink zip.
It's got a rose gold zip. Very
That
nice.
is correct. Rose gold. Very good.
Maybe
But
I've
no.
gone colourblind.
I think
This is baby pink to me.
And for those listening on the radio, think of beige.
Beige.
There you go.
Beige. Right. Anyway, look, let's move on to our top story this morning, because the PM has released details of the China spy scandal after being accused of staging a cover-up.
I'm deeply disappointed by the outcome. We wanted to see prosecutions. Mr. Speaker, I know just how seriously, rightly, that you take these matters. National security will always be the first priority of this government, and after legal advice, I have decided to publish the witness statement. Given the information contained, we will conduct a short process, but I want to make clear I intend to publish the witness statements in full.
Well, in 3 witness statements, details reveal the civil servant who gave evidence during the trial admitted that the UK was committed to a positive relationship with China. That's despite being quizzed about the threat that it posed.
Well, sensitive material on the Conservative leadership race was apparently leaked. The accused spies, Christopher Cash and Christopher Berry, both denied any wrongdoing after the case collapsed last month.
Our former Conservative Special Advisor Charlie Rowley joins us in the studio. Morning, Charlie.
Morning.
What do you make of it all?
Well, it raises more questions than it does answers. And the Prime Minister's questions yesterday seemed to be crystal clear and unequivocal that actually the evidence that was submitted to the CPS was all under the previous government, because these allegations take place between 2001 and 2003, which, according to the witness statements, apparently appears not to be the case, because as part of the witness statement, the language that is used about this government, this Labour government's 3 Cs, competition and either collaboration or a whole challenge to China, that is language straight from the Labour government's playbook. So the political tones submitted in those witness statements do not relate to the previous Conservative government, as the Prime Minister tried to tell us. It also begs the question as to why the CPS wasn't able to prosecute. Who else did they speak to? We've seen the official statements, but it's a bit like me, Stephen, asking you to say, well, you know, I've got a bag of sweets outside, you know, and they've been taken, you know, did you see anyone take it, you know, and you say no, and I say, no, come on, you know, did anyone take it? You say, well, you know, we've got a security guard outside, but it could be somebody, and I ask you a final time, and you still say no, and I'll say, oh, right, well, that's it then. I could have asked Ellie, I could have asked anyone else. So what communication has the CPS had with others in government, not just these 3 official witness statements that came from the Deputy National Security Advisor? Because it is now inconceivable, on the back of using the Labour language of the 3 Cs and their approach to China, on the back of the CPS claiming that they weren't able to prosecute over semantics simply because the government didn't deem China a threat to national security, even though they did say in the witness statements that there was a threat.
Well, that's what I don't understand, having looked at the summaries of those witness statements. Yes, they say the government wants to pursue a good economic relationship with Beijing. Well, of course we do. But it did say that you know, there is a very real threat. Might not have said of national security, but that threat is still there.
Exactly. And in the witness statements, it mentioned, you know, espionage, and it didn't come out to say China is a national threat. There wasn't a conclusive sort of paragraph there. But, you know, the signs were there. So questions for the CPS, why was that not enough in order to ensure that these prosecutions or a trial went ahead? Questions between the CPS and everyone else in government about what other communications was taking place, political or otherwise, because the Prime Minister has been crystal clear that no minister and no special advisor had any communication or had any oversight of this. It was just the one man, Matthew Collins, who's the Deputy National Security Advisor. I think that is now becoming inconceivable. There will obviously be more communication surrounding those witness statements. It is inconceivable. Even the Sue Gray report, which was a one-woman show, would have had the input from a couple of other civil servants that were drafting that report that would have had oversight of it. So it is not, I think, the case that just one man would have been dealing with the government's communications on this issue. So it raises a lot more questions, and particularly, finally, when the Prime Minister said, or it's been revealed, that the Prime Minister knew that this case was about to collapse 2 days before, and yet went to the House of Commons yesterday to say he wanted a prosecution. Well, why didn't the Prime Minister exercise a bit of political judgment? I think we knew why, because he hasn't got any. Why didn't he step in? Why didn't he ask his officials to say, right, what have we submitted to the CPS? Is there more we could be more forward-thinking in offering? Because it is completely unacceptable that anybody that is working within the Palace of Westminster or in and around politicians is able to hand over information to what is an enemy.
What do you make of the allegations made by Dominic Cummings that in 2020 there was this major hack where Beijing compromised a system used to house secret data? So he's alleging that this major security breach they were briefed on, so himself, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, and then the government covered it up.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I certainly wasn't privy to those conversations, but no one has denied it, and I think that speaks volumes in itself, I suppose, from the government. And where I think others have come out to say that yes, there have always been threats by China. Governments do spy on other governments. That's nothing new. But the level, I suppose, of breach comes into question and begs the question. Why is it that a group of people so high in government that have got access to all this material, whether it's MOD conversations, whether it is about national security, whether it's about the economy, that actually those conversations and information can be obtained by, again, a foreign bad actor?
Can we have a word about the Chancellor of the Exchequer? Because the budget is hurtling in our direction in not that many weeks, and we're looking at a repeat of last year's once-in-a-generation tax-raising budget, aren't we?
Exactly. And look, if this China story wasn't so dominating, it's been over a week now, it's coming up to 7 or 8 days over the front pages, then this story would have grabbed all of the headlines because the Chancellor slipped out on a trip, I think, to Washington, that, she was going to make the numbers add up, and that was either through tax rises and some spending cuts. But you're right, the last budget last year, she said she wasn't going to come back and ask for more taxes. And now, fast forward 12 months, she's coming back to ask for more taxes, potentially. Why? Because growth has been downgraded, people have left who could be wealth creators and generators, that, the government couldn't get its own welfare reforms through that would have saved them $5 billion when she wanted to try and save a few pennies only a couple of months ago. And the audacity that we read in the papers is that, they're going to try and pin all of this on Nigel Farage and voting for Brexit. Well, we've had COVID since then. The global economy was shut down. You've got to pick your lane. You can't, on the one hand, try and talk up the economy and say, well, we're the second fastest growing in the G7, on the one hand, and that we're doing trade deals with India and with the US and how great that is, which things that we wouldn't be able to do outside of the EU, all the while saying, oh, it's your terrible woes back home and, it's all Nigel's fault and anyone that voted Brexit, you're to blame. I mean, the government haven't got, again, a clear position on what it is that they're trying to articulate. But also, I think this will go down, without newsflash, very, very badly. Because people are feeling the pinch enough. Inflation is high, energy bills are up, there is no growth in the economy, taxes are up. On working people, something that they said they weren't going to do. And it seems to me, as a lot of economists are saying, that she's going to have to, the Chancellor, row back on one of her election pledges, which is not to raise national insurance, VAT or income tax. She's already raised national insurance contributions, but we were told to read the small print.
From employers.
Exactly. But, as a headline announcement, people will feel short-changed by that. Is she now going to raise income tax? Let's wait and see. It's not beyond the realms of possibility because she's put herself into a corner. There isn't that fiscal headroom. The money needs to come from somewhere and, not long to find out.
Yeah, and I mean, the IFS is talking about her and encouraging her actually to think about bold action, potentially breaking manifesto promises, give herself a bit more headroom. Anyway, Charlie, we'll see you in the next hour. Thank you very much. Now, concerns have been raised over the state of schools in Northern Ireland, with costs thought to be up to £800 million.
Well, Stormont is calling for urgent system-wide reform in schools.
Well, a report found the state of disrepair is so dire that it could cause a health and safety risk to young people and their education.
Well, it comes after it was revealed earlier in the year that the true costs of bringing the school estate across the UK up to scratch could be more than £13.8 billion.
Well, let's speak to Communications Officer at the Family Education Trust, Lucy Marsh. Very good morning to you, Lucy. And can we just row back on this a little bit? How did we get to this place? How do we get to this situation where schools in Northern Ireland are looking at such a huge bill and they're in such a bad state of disrepair?
Well, the report talks about just a huge lack of governance and lack of accountability over the last 10 years since the Education Authority was formed. And also it's just not communicating or working effectively with the Department for Education. So it's just a very poor state that they've got into. I mean, the report talks about schools are literally crumbling. There's poor heating when it's been cold, which is obviously causing schools to close. Toilets not working properly, not ventilated, overcrowded, completely failing structures. So it is a massive lack of safeguarding, in our opinion. I mean, at the very least, parents expect their children to be safe and warm and in properly ventilated rooms and classrooms when they go to school. So if your parents can be really worried if you're sending your child to school and the actual building's not safe, it's a really bad state of affairs, and it seems like it's been going on for a decade.
But there's a difference, isn't there, Lucy, between buildings and schools that are not safe compared to those that need some repair, whether it is heating or toilets or whatever it may be. There's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, I'd say that there's a difference, but also even if it's crumbling, if it's structurally sound but it's not actually fit for purpose inside, then how are children actually supposed to be able to learn effectively if they're not in a classroom that's comfortable? I mean, I think we would all say as adults, you expect your workplace to be somewhere where you're not cold, where you haven't got leaks coming from the roof. So we should expect the same for our children, surely.
Is this, do you think, a lack of finance, a lack of funding, or do you think it's more down to a lack of planning and looking at maintenance of schools?
Well, I think it's both. It is a massive lack of planning that's been happening, and they admit that the structures haven't been in place. There is a lack of data. There isn't the data or the evidence to go on, or having a strategic plan for how the schools are going to be maintained. It seems to be a very reactive approach that's been happening. There actually hasn't been a long-term plan. But the schools minister has actually mentioned that there is a problem with lack of funding because of one of the problems is that the special educational needs budget has increased dramatically. I think it's been like 850%, like huge sort of uptick in the needs of SEN students in the last few years. And he's saying that actually they need so much funding that they need for that there isn't the funding available to actually maintain the buildings properly. So I'm not quite sure where they expect the money to come from, because as we've seen now, we're looking at 20% of children having a special educational needs statement now. So and that's only going to increase unless something's done about it. So I'm not really sure where the money's going to come from. You've had your previous guest talking about the possibility of income tax rises. So perhaps that is actually going to happen if schools need to be repaired properly.
OK. Lucy Marsh from the Family Education Trust. Thanks very much indeed. So, I mean, it's a concern, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It is a concern.
Children deserve better, don't they?
Well, they do. Mind you, I was taught in post-war prefabs a lot of the time.
Yeah, and having said that, I was taught in demountable blocks.
Yeah. So, I mean... Yeah. I mean, it's not saying it's right.
But it's not new, is it?
It's not new.
Unfortunately.
I know there's so much I could delve into on this one, but I better hadn't, because we're short for time, because it is, at 6:19, time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Nim Sabunge, and I'm the pastor of Freedom's Ark, a member of the Evangelical Alliance here in the Tottenham Town Hall. Proverbs 16:18 tells us that pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. It's a warning that pride, though it promises strength, often brings collapse, and we also learn that pride is the root of much evil. Many faith traditions recognize that pride is the father of all sins. It's the voice that says, I don't need help. I don't need correction. Pride hurts more than it actually helps. The irony is, pride always damages us. Rather than improving our lives, it strains friendships, builds walls and families, and leaves us lonelier than we were before. Philippians 2:5-11 describes Jesus' humility, who had every right to glory, yet he humbled himself, taking the form of a servant. Humility didn't make him smaller, it revealed his greatness. Humility lifts us higher. C.S. Lewis once wrote, humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. In everyday life, that looks like listening before speaking, saying I was wrong, or giving others credit. These small acts build trust, peace, and joy. The lesson is clear. Pride breaks down. humility builds us up. Let us pray. God of wisdom, protect us from pride that blinds and divides. Teach us the way of humility shown in Christ, that we may walk in peace and learn to lift others up. Amen.
Well, still to come for you. Just a week today, until the Caerphilly by-election. We've been talking to locals about the issues at the top of their agenda. We'll tell you more next.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique.
And you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Now, we all love this country, don't we? And it's time now to celebrate it together. But we need your help. We want you to help us decide which pictures are going to feature in our very first GB News charity calendar. Now, you'll be new to this, won't you?
I am.
Well, look at these pictures. They are
beautiful.
Stunning. There's been an incredible response to our call for photos from all across Great Britain. We have received some truly stunning pictures from across the UK, snow-capped peaks, seaside sunsets, the village greens, city skylines, castles. Britain has never looked better. Every penny of profit is going to go to the London Taxi Drivers Charity for Children, which is bringing joy to disadvantaged and special needs children since 1928. And it is supported by the Queen as well. So the charity helps provide vital support for those who need it most. So have your say. Head online and help us choose the images that best capture the spirit of Britain. And to vote, you can go to the QR code on the screen, or you can head to the website as well. Thanks for taking part, and it should look really good.
Be fabulous. Also means you'll have to buy one as well.
I'll definitely buy one, GB News camera.
Yeah, we'll be buying one.
Where would you be taking pictures of in Britain?
Oh, the Lake District.
I knew that. I don't know why I asked.
No.
It's going to be the Lake District, wasn't it?
It's got to be the Lake District.
Scotland, the Highlands.
Yeah, beautiful.
Would be a good choice.
All parts of the UK. I mean, that's the whole point. We celebrate the whole country.
Yorkshire Dales.
Yeah.
Where else? Cornwall, the beaches of Cornwall. Milthorpe.
Milnthorpe. There you go.
Southend-on-Sea.
Blackpool Tower.
The longest pier in the world.
Oh, yes. Anyway, look, enough of that. Beautiful it is. Maybe we should take pictures of Caerphilly.
Oh, yes. I bet that's very beautiful.
Yeah, well,
I've never been.
Yeah, very nice.
Nice cheese.
Great cheese. Anyway, look, in just 7 days, the people of Caerphilly in South Wales will go to the polls to vote for their next representative in the Senedd.
Our national reporter, Jack Carlson, has been talking to these people to find out what issues they're going to be voting on.
Its 750-year-old castle watches over this area, steeped in history. Now the people here in Caerphilly have a decision to make. A by-election to elect a new member of the Senedd has been called after the sudden death of former Labour member Hefin David. It's a town proud of its industrial past and its people. A statue honours one of its most famous sons, Tommy Cooper. But in this election, which candidate will be able to pull the rabbit out of the hat? From local issues to those of national debate, residents here are divided on what their next representative should focus on.
Budget funding or some other issues have cropped up and the funding is no longer there. But, I mean, Caerphilly was promised, well, could do with a bypass years ago, but there isn't. There's one road in and one road out, and once that gets snarled up, everything grinds to a halt.
I believe in independence for Wales. England don't give a monkey's about us, they take us for granted.
Well, for them to be honest with what they're going to deliver, for a start. More help with the community, policing, put some money back in what the taxpayers are paying.
Even though this is an election to the Welsh Parliament, on this high street, the politics of Westminster is never far away.
A person who enters from any offshore without any legal documentation is actually breaking the law instantly. Therefore, their illegal status demands that person should not be allowed in this country. What has changed?
It is an issue, really, because you think, well, when's it going to stop? People can't get doctor's appointments and dentists and this, that and the other. We don't have the infrastructure, really, for to take any more in, really.
They're here to help. They're here to benefit ourselves. If I wanted a job and if I had a job out here and I couldn't get the money, I'd move. Exactly like these immigrants come in here. They get a better standard of living here. You can't blame them.
The candidates in this election have just one more week to convince people here they're the best to represent them before they're catapulted into the Senedd. Jack Carlson, GB News, Caerphilly.
To be fair, it does look beautiful in Caerphilly.
It does look beautiful in Caerphilly. Maybe we should go.
I think we should.
Next week.
Next week?
We could do brekkie from there for the by-election.
Oh, yeah.
Afterwards, when we have a result.
When we have a result, there's lots of...
I'm always trying to take us out and about on the road, aren't I?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a lovely idea, but there's lots of legal stuff around elections that we have to be
That's what I'm saying, afterwards.
Afterwards.
Yeah,
Go
that's
afterwards.
what I'm saying.
Just for the after party.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, all right, fair
Be there
enough.
and we can get reaction.
Yeah, all right.
Anyway, it's an idea. Road trip.
Yeah, all right. You organise it, I'll come.
OK, great.
Right, time for the weather. Here's Alex Deakin.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend, but for today it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry, there are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning, and with a bit of brightness we could reach 15-16 degrees. Most places though staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still one or two showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps one or two showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry, perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and will keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Temporary traffic lights are delaying the A9 at Taitcher due to emergency roadworks. Road users should expect longer travel times until further notice. The M48 both directions implements a 7.5-tonne weight restriction for heavy goods vehicles until a resolution is announced. In Milton Keynes, lane closures affect the A5 southbound exit slip to the A422, with normal conditions anticipated between 8:30 and 8:45 this morning. And on the trains, Northern is replacing trains with buses between Corkicle and Whitehaven. There is disruption on C2C services between Barking and London Fenchurch Street. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Still to come, Great Britain's basketball team is banned from international matches.
I was smiling away there, and I was like, oh no.
I mean,
I don't know why.
No, I don't know why, but Paul Coyte does, and he'll tell us in a moment.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here to GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device, and as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
God, this woman's insatiable. She just said to me, have you left me anything in your will?
No, because...
How old do you think I am?
No, I don't. You're just older.
How much do you want, then? What sort of money?
I don't think a lot.
What's not a lot?
Just a nice holiday to remember you on.
Yeah, the answer is no.
10 grand.
I haven't left you anything in the will, no.
Oh, all right.
It could be one of those wills where you go, and Ellie has got this photograph, and you're like, what the hell is that? I don't want this, I want money.
Yeah, I could leave you. I'll leave you a photograph of me signed.
World Cup roundup. I'm going to do a little World Cup roundup.
Yes, please.
Are you ready for this?
Yep.
Yes.
England, as we know, were the first European team to qualify, which we were very happy about. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit of what may happen over the next couple of weeks.
Oh.
We're going to win everything.
Well, it's the other teams. Each of the 12 group winners...
Not with it, no.
Well, you know what? But it was nice to have a question. It was nice to be involved for a moment.
Right, OK.
I try, Coity.
I know you do. Each of the 12 group winners will go to the World Cup, and then there's 4 places left for the others, and they have a playoff. So the 12 runners-up... Right, write this down. 12 runners-up plus the 4 best-ranked UEFA Nations League section winners will then go into the playoff. They will make a draw, and then they'll have a little semi-final, then a final, and then 4 will then go through to the World Cup.
Sorry, what?
Good.
I lost you.
Scotland are guaranteed a top 2 finish.
OK.
So that means they could go into they're guaranteed a playoff. Wales, Northern Ireland, Republic of Ireland, all hoping for a playoff. Germany, France, Netherlands, Belgium and Croatia are all on course for qualification. I am going to ask you questions. Japan, Australia, Iran, Jordan, Uzbekistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and New Zealand have all qualified.
Right.
That's good.
So I'm glad we've sorted that one out. Did you see about Donald Trump talking about the World Cup, by the way, yesterday?
No, does he know much about football?
Well, I don't know, but he's got a great friend in Gianni Infantino, who is the president of FIFA, Gianni. You know, it sounds like he's saying Gianni. It's not Johnny, it's Gianni. But he said he may consider relocating games in the World Cup because it's being played in Canada, Mexico and the United States. So if there's any civil disobedience in any cities like Chicago or Boston, that Donald Trump would be happy to move those games, so mayors, move them to somewhere else. This is what he had to say talking about the World Cup yesterday.
And if I feel there's unsafe conditions, I would call Johnny, the head of FIFA, who's phenomenal, and I would say, let's move it to another location. And he would do that. He wouldn't love to do it, but he'd do it. Very easily he'd do it. And this is the right time to do it. If I thought Boston was doing something that was going to cause safety conditions for the World Cup, I could say the same thing for the Olympics, because we have events that are in different locations for the Olympics. It's based in LA. If I thought LA was not going to be prepared properly, I would move it to another location.
It's my buddy, Gianni Infantino. Come on, Gianni. But the thing is that there's talk that it may move, but there is a place that it seems that they all want to be. Now, Mar-a-Lago.
Oh.
Have you heard of that? That's apparently where every World Cup game is now going to be played.
Yeah, it's very good.
Try and work that one out.
Very popular.
And also we should mention the sumo wrestling as well. The sumo wrestling, which has come to Britain second time in 1,500 years, I believe it to be. 1991 was the last time.
Is there much of an appetite for it over here?
Well, there is quite an excitement around it. They've sold out.
About it.
They've
sold out.
Sold out the Royal Albert Hall. Hopefully we've got some pictures and a little bit of sumo wrestling. I know we've got the wrestling, but we have the wrestlers are all around London at the moment. So there we are. There's the Albert Hall there. They're in black cabs, they're on Lime bikes, and they're everywhere. They were even photographed of them. There we are. Is that them?
Is that?
No. Well,
that doesn't look like
No.
There we are. That's a little bit more like it. This was the launch event that they had last year.
Oh, he's doing the splits.
5 day. They are honestly very flexible gentlemen. 5-day event. The Ukrainian.
Oh, now we're talking. Look, they're going around London.
There we are.
They've been on the line bike.
Sightseeing. Yeah, and they walked across. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh no, I know what that is. That is the building of the Doyo platform, where all the dirt has come from around Heathrow. Why, I'm not sure. But also, and then it's all marked out with rice. How am I doing so far? And also, I should mention, it's a sacred area. So when they had the first night last night, the announcer is shouting to everybody, because all want to have their photograph taken like in the ring, like in boxing, stay away, because it's disrespectful and it's a sacred area. So it goes on for 5 days. If you want to come along, maybe we'll go tonight. But we will talk a little more about the ins and outs of sumo in an hour's time.
Look forward to it.
We look forward to that.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasure. Did any of that make any sense whatsoever? No. OK, that's fine.
Not one bit. Anyway, thank you very much.
We'll try again.
Anyway, time now for the Great British Giveaway. Here are all of the details you need for a chance to make it yours.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Right, still to come, we've got the papers with Tim Vincent and Charlotte Griffiths. But first, if you want some holiday sun, here's the forecast for the top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Some showers heading over the Canaries over the next few days. We've seen some torrential downpours across parts of Spain and Italy recently. Things turning drier here, however. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal on Friday. And the sunshine returning to much of Italy. Still a few showers across the far south. The wet weather, though, is moving into Croatia and mainland Greece, although most of the Greek islands further east will be dry and sunny. And we'll see the sunshine returning to Dubrovnik through the weekend. Meanwhile, further showers likely in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
They've completely refigured the inside of this theatre. So the stalls have been made into sort of tiered stadium seating. It's in the round. They've built seats and a balcony at the back as well.
In the Old Vic?
In the Old Vic. Absolutely. So this is a huge amount of effort's gone into this. Yep. Susan Sarandon, 79, Oscar winner. I have to say, superb, vivid.
Thelma and Louise.
Absolutely, and I love what she was doing here. People aren't always. This is her UK stage debut.
Extraordinary.
Completely convincing, beautiful, nuanced. It's got Andrea Riseborough, incredible actress. Eleanor Worthington-Cox, who I love, who was in Next to Normal, but won an Olivier as a kid for Matilda. So this is Mary Page Marlowe. We've got 5 actresses playing the same woman through different times in her life, backwards and forwards through time. And we have got the playwright, Tracy Letts, giving us a little insight into what he was trying to do with the play.
What are the 11 scenes you would choose
you would choose to illustrate your life, to tell you who you are.
I watched some clips of people in America talking about it when it first came out, curious to see if I was missing something. And they talked about it's a puzzle. How would you put your life in 11 scenes? And one of the people on the video mentioned it's a bit like a quilt, which always makes me groan a bit because there's a quilt at the start of the stage. This makes me groan.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, Susan Sarandon at the end, and she's great all the way through, her final sort of big moving speech is she's taken a quilt into a dry cleaner and she starts talking about it, and it's different panels, like different bits of her life, and one panel that she loves most has a woman slightly turned away, bit mysterious. Who is she, Michael? What happened in her? And I just cringed, and I've seen a lot of 3-star reviews, which for me is just polite.
The People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of TV presenter Tim Vincent and editor-at-large at the Daily Mail, Charlotte Griffiths. Morning, you two. Good to see you. Charlotte, let's have a look at the front page of the Times, shall we? Prince Andrew saw sex with me as his birthright. This is a claim by Virginia Giuffre in her memoir.
Yeah, you can't get through a week without another massive Prince Andrew bombshell at the moment. And the latest one is Nobody's Girl, which is a biography that Virginia Giuffre wrote about herself before she died. And it's now going to come out. And actually, it kind of is subjects we already know about. She's re-describing the moment she first met Andrew at Ghislaine Maxwell's London townhouse. But, you know, it just brings us a sort of reminder of how sordid it all was and what she believed and how upset she was by everything. So it's the last thing Andrew needs from beyond the grave.
He denies it all, of course.
He denies it all. But this claim, I mean, the biggest bombshell so far that we found out is that she believed it was his birthright to have... He acted as if it was his birthright to have sex with her. So he just walked in, you know, I just assumed what was going to happen in such a natural way that she just felt it was very odd, basically. But, of course, he would deny all this. But it's extremely uncomfortable for him to know this biography is coming out from beyond the grave. I mean, the poor girl took her own life not so long ago. So it's all very sordid and upsetting, really.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because when those pictures come out of how young she looked at the time, you're used to seeing the pictures of how she looked before she passed away. You realise how young she was. And even at the time, it really places it of what was going on at the time, that she didn't have a phone to take the picture. She nipped out to Snappy Snaps and bought a disposable camera to take the picture with the prince. It really says how long ago it was. But, yeah, he must be feeling very beleaguered at the moment.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. All right, Tim, let's have a look at the Times, page 15, should we? More of us are apparently getting snapped by speed cameras.
This is a pet hate for me, because I don't know if you've ever been on a speeding school...
an awareness course.
Yes, exactly. You did enjoy it.
Yeah, but it was pre-COVID, so it was in a nice hotel. There were biscuits, coffee. And quite a nice day.
You're not meant to enjoy yourself.
I know.
Well, I've done both. I've done the biscuits and coffee, and I've also done the online one at home, and I think it's absolutely, I'm going to be very controversial, a bit ridiculous, because, and this backs it up, the number of penalty points issued to drivers has more than tripled in 3 years as speed camera offences surge. A Freedom of Information request of the Driver and Vehicle Licence Agency showed that 2.8 million penalty points were issued in 2021. That figure rose to just shy of 10 million last year. Personally, I think it's just a way to make money.
Yes.
Somebody that's getting 3 points for doing 34 in a 30 is ridiculous. If they're doing 50 in a 30, then of course that's ridiculous. Throw them in jail if you want to. But there's so many people. My mum, who's 77, has just gone on a speeding school and as literally was a couple of miles over the speed limit. And it's like, who are you actually trying to educate here? And when you do those speeding schools, the guys that are running them, they're almost embarrassed because, you know, how to suck eggs. We all know what speed we were going. We're only going a couple of miles over it. Of course, people that speed properly, then, of course, they should have the book thrown at them.
But it's about having that right barrier, isn't it? I think a lot of the issue here is that they're now installing those average speed cameras everywhere, and they're very easy to fall foul of.
Yeah. Very easy. I've had so many speeding fines in the last 2 years, and my whole life I've never had speeding fines. Now I'm on my limit. And it's because of the average speed cameras, because I have to say, I'm from the old school where you drive really fast and you know where the speed camera is and you slow down.
Right.
But you know there's cameras now that will average you out, so that's...
Yeah, but you can't do that anymore, and that's good. That's got to be a good thing, because my style of driving is very unsafe. But if you average it out, you have to stay within the limit, and it's a real lesson in life, isn't it?
But you drive, I drive. You see really bad drivers around you, don't you? Aggressive drivers that are doing things that you think, oh, my God, you're going to cause an accident. They're not being stopped. It's the people like you and me, that they know where your address is, you're insured properly, they must have money, let's just keep fining them. It's ridiculous.
It's also really difficult on the motorway. I'm noticing this happening more and more often. It's 70, you're doing 70, and then it comes to this variable speed limit, 50, almost straight away, and there'll be a camera, and you actually don't have time to slow down.
I got caught last week on a variable. I was on the motorway doing 70. I was actually doing 70. And then suddenly it was variable, and I got flashed. And I was just like, I just didn't even see it. I didn't even realise I had to suddenly slow down.
Yeah.
This is the
I've never got flashed.
Talking of... what's Harry Pothole? What's his name? This in the Telegraph, but it's not actually... What is that to do with?
Actually, this is a really good contrast. So, at one minute, they're fining us left, right and centre, but they're not investing that money into the roads.
No.
Just ask the people of Lustley, Devon, because they've been begging for their potholes to be fixed for years, and, of course, nobody's listened, and they've just stayed there. But now, Harry Potter's coming into town. The new HBO series of Harry Potter is being filmed there. So, lo and behold, the council's tidying up the village, the roads are perfect, everything's looking ideal. That money that they've probably got from speeding fines and parking fines is finally being spent.
I think there's a documentary in this, because the amount of film companies that go in and will rent a house and say, look, we'll give you X thousand for a couple of weeks and we'll make it this way and then we'll redo you afterwards. I used to play Marty Dangerfield in Dangerfield like 100 years ago on the BBC, and our family kitchen was remodelled every year, so they would put a brand new kitchen in and pay the family for 2 weeks and say, look, we can put another kitchen in if you want. They said, no, we're happy with that, and then next year they would put another kitchen in and they would sell the last one.
Wow.
Really good way to make money for your speeding fines.
I'll tell you what annoys me about potholes, though, and all this issue is because you cannot get potholes fixed. But I did notice very close to where I live now, where I was only saying the other week, it's great because all the little mini roundabouts have all been painted with an England flag. They've all been painted white.
Oh, really? Oh, they've been repainted?
So the council's been quite happy to spend money painting them. They won't, but obviously, so they'll paint out the national flag, but they won't repair a pothole.
If you're up north, you can repair the potholes. If you go down the country lanes where there's particularly bad potholes, the farmers will just come out and fill them themselves. It's the community thing. We do it ourselves.
Well, I shouldn't have to be doing that.
Absolutely not.
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
Tim, can you tell us very quickly how a tidy child shows that you're being a good parent?
Well, we could talk about that all day, really, because I don't know how you get your children to be tidy. I don't know how I'm tidy. I'm moving house next month, and we've just got boxes of things that they should be throwing away, and one box is full of stuff that they want to keep, and everything else is on the floor, so I'm over to you on that. But tidy children should indicate, as this personal report, that will bode well for their future lives in business and in work.
I do think a tidy child, not that I've ever seen one, certainly not in my own household. But I think that does show good parenting. I failed spectacularly.
Well, I think every parent fails on that one. All right, you two, we've got to leave it there. We'll see you later. Thank you.
And here's the weather.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend. But for today, it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry. There are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning. And with a bit of brightness, we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places, though, staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still one or two showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps one or two showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry. Perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and will keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Road users face significant disruptions. Temporary traffic lights are operational on the A9 at Tacher due to emergency roadworks until 6 in the morning on the 31st of December 2025. A weight restriction is in place for vehicles over 7.5 tonnes on the M48 in both directions from the 27th of May 2025 until further notice. On the trains, Great Western Railway services face disruptions between Reading and Newbury. Northern advises that buses replace trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, with further disruptions between Wakefield, Kirkgate and Leeds. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Questions for the government on Britain's relationship with China.
The Deputy National Security Advisor has stated China's intelligence services are running large-scale espionage operations against the UK.
Well, he's warned those efforts threaten Britain's economic prosperity and the integrity of its democracy, but added the UK remains committed to a positive relationship with Beijing.
Well, the statements come as part of the collapsed China spy case against two men accused of passing secrets to Beijing, charges that were dropped last month.
Well, former government advisor Dominic Cummings claims China accessed highly classified information a couple of years ago in a security breach the government covered up. So, should the threat to the UK be taken more seriously?
The Institute for Fiscal Studies paints a grim picture for the Chancellor as she faces Groundhog Day, with more spending cuts and tax rises expected next year.
Concerns raised over the state of our schools, with repair bills in Northern Ireland that could be up to $800 million.
Building things, and this way I can build some beautiful things, and this, again, has never been built, and we're going to start that pretty soon.
Donald Trump reveals big building plans for Washington, D.C. ahead of America's 250th anniversary next year.
Well, more accusations against Prince Andrew. Virginia Giuffre's Beyond the Grave autobiography claims he was entitled and saw sex with her as a birthright.
It's just a week until the Caerphilly by-election. We've been speaking to locals and hearing about the issues at the top of their agenda.
And sport this morning, the Premier League edged closer to limiting clubs with a spending cap. Great Britain's basketball team is banned from international matches, and sumo wrestling fever comes to London.
Another fairly drab day for most. Dry and cloudy sums it up. There will be a few light showers here and there. Equally, there'll be a few sunny spells here and there. Join me later for a full forecast to find out what you'll get today.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
What I'm desperate to know about is why Japanese sumo wrestlers need sacred dirt from Heathrow to perform on.
You understand so little, don't you?
I do.
You need to learn so much.
I do.
Well, we have sumo expert coming on, but I will tell you, it's the dirt. The dirt. It's not just your everyday dirt. See, when they had the baseball in London, they flew the dirt over from the East Coast, from Baltimore, I believe it to be.
I mean, that's a waste of air miles.
Well, you're going to feel the dirt. So this dirt in the Dokyo, it comes from. It's a quarry very close to Heathrow Airport, so that's the reason. That's where that came from. It's your special dirt, sacred dirt.
How can dirt be sacred or special?
Well, how can water be holy?
Because it's blessed.
Oh, there you
Why
go.
do fools fall in love? So there's all those questions that we'll be asking a little bit later. But it's a very religious ceremony as well as being national sport, and quite frankly, the sumo fever has taken over London.
It's weird, isn't it? Because none of us do it over here, or very few of us do it over here.
Yes.
But it's somehow fascinating.
Oh,
isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is. It is incredibly fascinating.
I've loved the pictures in the newspapers. Am I going to be able to find them now? No, I won't. But it's the sumo wrestlers who are kind of becoming tourists in London, and they're out and about on the line bikes, and they've gone to see...
You can spot them, by the way. They're very easy to spot.
Can you see that? Let's see if we can zoom in. There they are. Yeah, they're
walking over Abbey Road.
They've been trying pints. They've been walking over Abbey Road. They've been going... Wait, which way do I go? Over here. There you go. Yeah, they've been on the bikes. They're having a great time.
See, the thing is, it's sold out at Royal Albert Hall. So it's over 5 days, over 5 nights. So everybody's wanting to go because it's a historic thing. It really is the second time it's ever been outside of Japan. And the problem is that probably the best seats are going to be right around the ring, right at the front. But it's very, very dangerous because these are big gentlemen who will get pushed out, and they sometimes will land on audience members and people have had broken bones and been knocked. So if you're sitting in the front row, you've got to be quick and be careful.
We've had a sumo restaurant before, haven't we? It's really difficult discipline. They have to eat loads and...
That sounds quite an easy discipline, that bit. That bit I'd have no problem with.
That
Well, we will do. In about 20 minutes' time, we will find out more from British sumo wrestlers.
We've got lots of questions.
All right, Paul, thank you. Now, the Prime Minister has released details of the China spy scandal after being accused of staging a cover-up.
I'm deeply disappointed by the outcome. We wanted to see prosecutions. Mr. Speaker, I know just how seriously, rightly, that you take these matters. National security will always be the first priority of this government, and after legal advice, I have decided to publish the witness statement. Given the information contained, we will conduct a short process, but I want to make clear I intend to publish the witness statements in full.
Well, in 6 o'clock statements, details reveal that the civil servant who gave evidence during the trial admitted the UK was committed to a positive relationship with China. That's despite being quizzed about the threat that it posed.
Sensitive material on the Conservative leadership race was apparently leaked, and the accused spies, Christopher Cash and Christopher Berry, both have denied any wrongdoing after the case collapsed last month.
Well, former Conservative Special Advisor Charlie Rowley joins us now. Morning to you, Charlie. And
Good morning.
This raises more questions than answers, Charlie.
It certainly does, because in the House of Commons yesterday at Prime Minister's Questions, both the Prime Minister and Kimmy Badenoch were outraged at the fact that there wasn't a prosecution, that the case collapsed. Now, the question is, how has that case collapsed? The CPS, obviously in charge of forming a case against these two individuals, where information was exchanged and put into the hands of links to the Chinese premier, is because the CPS didn't feel it had enough evidence. It didn't have, in its view, the absolute authority from the government to state that China is a threat to national security. And that has been the whole hoo-ha of this saga, which has led to those 3 witness statements from the Deputy National Security Advisor. And we're focusing on the Deputy National Security Advisor because the actual National Security Advisor is a chap called Jonathan Powell, who is a special advisor appointed. He's not a civil servant. He's a political appointee, but someone that has had a number of links to China through business interests since his time leaving Downing Street under the Blair years and coming back in. So the question around, has the UK's government's approach to China softened, and his individual links puts him very much front and centre. The government has tried to shift blame off Jonathan Powell onto Matthew Collins, the deputy, who did submit these statements to the CPS. Now, the Prime Minister was quite clear yesterday, or tried to be unequivocal, that no political advisor, no special advisor and no minister was responsible for those statements. And nor did they engage in any conversation around the particular trial. That, I'm afraid, raises more questions because the third witness statement that was submitted by Deputy National Security Advisor actually used the exact same language, political language, that had been used by the Labour government. So it is inconceivable that all the evidence submitted between 2001 and 2003, where this case relates to, was all under the auspices of the Conservative government, which is what the Prime Minister tried to suggest yesterday.
Right. The reality is, with this, it is very...
Did you get all that?
It is very
clear.
It is very confusing. I mean, it's as clear as mud, really. But can we boil it down to... I mean, it was certainly said in the Commons yesterday. I mean, Tom Tugendhat, for the Conservatives, basically was claiming that the Prime Minister is fabricating stories. He's making stuff up about what was said and what wasn't said. Is that a fair accusation or not?
I think it is. And the reason why it is, and the reason there's uproar, ultimately, is that 2 individuals that worked in Parliament have been accused of spying on MPs. It doesn't get much greater than that in terms of espionage and working for a bad actor, a foreign bad actor. And a case that was being formed and should have gone to trial has not done so. So who is to blame? I think people are asking themselves. And the CPS will say they didn't get enough supporting evidence from the government. for them to follow through with a prosecution
from either government.
From either government. This Labour Prime Minister is trying to defend his National Security Advisor. I mean, the question around the National Security Advisor not being involved at all or having any kind of conversation about this case when it is potentially going to trial is also, I think, to many people inconceivable. Why would you leave all evidence gathering and submissions to the Deputy National Security Advisor that works under, and in his own statement, he is there to support the National Security Advisor. So it is inconceivable that a guy that's come into Downing Street, appointed by the Prime Minister, that's had previous links to China, where there is speculation around watering down either evidence submitted or a change in the government's approach in terms of its attitude towards China, because obviously we need the investment financially. There are questions to answer, and that's why I think people feel that the government hasn't been open about this. It hasn't been clear about who's been talking about it, who's responsible for the case collapsing. And the Prime Minister knew about it 2 days before the case was about to collapse and failed to do anything about it. So how on earth can people have faith and confidence in a judicial system and a government if it cannot even bring about a trial of two people accused of spying on the very people who they were working with? It is quite ridiculous.
OK. Charlie, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, breaking news this morning, and data from the Office of National Statistics shows the UK economy grew in August by 0.1%.
And that comes after it dipped in July. Well, it gives Rachel Reeves a small lift ahead of next month's crucial budget.
Let's talk to economics expert Justin Urquhart. Stuart, good morning.
Good morning.
What do you make of this?
Like Star Trek, this, isn't it? You know, sort of saying it's growth, Jim, but not as we knew it.
Yeah.
0.1. It's not.
I mean, it's nothing, is it?
It's a rounding error. No, what she's now got to do is actually realise the fact that it ain't growing. She's actually got to roll back on the budget and say, if she's got this sense, is actually say, no, there's a hole, I'm going to cover it. No, there's a big hole, and I'm going to actually now make a big difference here, and I'm actually going to go back and say, we're going to tear up what we did last time, and go back and actually restructure it all and get the bad news out of the way. Give herself then some room for the next couple of years.
What bad news? What bad news? What does she need to do?
Yeah, she needs to then say, actually, the costs are going to be higher, the growth is going to be lower, inflation's higher. Which we know is higher. The growth figures around the world, we're doing better. But, I mean, this is a snail's race. Which one do you want to be faster? It's not very big. And then also, what you need to then focus on is where the positive areas are, where the growth areas are. And they're there. But, mind you, from this government at the moment, you wouldn't know it. In terms of technology and those sort of areas. So there are some elements we should be encouraging. Remember, a lot of what she's got to do has got to be actually putting out the right story, a positive story. Last time she gave us a story which she was trying to be sort of upright and honest about it and tell us things. If you give people a bad story, they'll believe you.
Well, talking down the economy, basically.
It doesn't really help very much. In Britain, we're very good at talking down the economy.
Yeah.
You've actually got to do it diametrically the opposite way and then underline it again.
So if you were advising Rachel Reeves, what easy wins would you suggest to get growth? What are the areas that she should be encouraging?
Go to the areas where you can get most multiplier on your returns. One of the things will be housing. So things like stamp duty. I know, obviously, the Tory leaders have been focusing on that. But as you look at how the stamp duty, you can adjust that really quite quickly and encourage more movement in housing. What does that do? Because every time you move house, the kitchen goes, the bathroom goes, the children go, but you will spend more money. As you spend more money, people will be paying more tax. That's more income coming in from the government. It gets more money going through the economy. That's short term. Second one you could do is then focus on those smaller companies. Remember, we're setting up 4,000 to 5,000 new companies a year. A lot of those are high-tech companies in those high-tech centres, not in London, but all around the country. Focus on those, get growth going, encourage more growth in those areas, and particularly secondary growth, not just start up with the next stage thereafter. So you'll actually get some positive news there and some growth.
But where does that leave taxes? Because one thing we've been told to expect is tax rises in the next budget. Now, we don't know what sort of tax rises, but it's likely to, in effect, fall under the sort of wealth category.
Yeah.
Now, Is that a good way to make money, or does that stifle growth because you're going after the people who've actually got money to invest in everything else?
Having an old-fashioned wealth tax is really stupid. What you need to do is create wealth. Once you create the wealth, then you can tax it. You know, squeezing lemons, don't do that. Actually grow an orchard, then you'll have enough lemons in the future. What you need to be able to do is actually then, if you have a fair tax at the moment, it's probably the broadest one you're going to be able to get, will be things like an income tax, which is unpopular, but actually covers everybody in terms of those people like me, who are now getting to the stage where becoming a pensioner, where actually you'll still have income, but they can still be taxable, as opposed to people who are working, which is national insurance. Which is a really stupid thing to try and hit, to actually sit there and say, no, we'll get the employers to pay more tax. No, it's the employers pay more tax. The employers end up not employing more people. That was just dumb. And so reverse that and just say, look, I have the income tax. And if I were them, no one's going to believe them, but sit there and say, we're going to have income tax going up by X amount for the next 5 years, 4 years, whatever it is, and then we'll put it in statute to actually say, we'll then bring it back down again. No one else is going to believe them, but actually it would allow them to actually get away with an argument to say this is now going to look fairer. Then get growth going. That's the main thing.
OK. Justin, thank you very much for coming in for your analysis this morning. A Treasury spokesman has said we've seen the fastest growth in the G7 since the start of the year, but for too many people, our economy feels stuck, working day in, day out without getting ahead. The Chancellor is determined to turn this around by helping businesses in every town and high street grow, investing in infrastructure and cutting red tape to get Britain building.
Can I just ask you, Justin, what you make of that? Because it's the fact we're fastest growing economy in the G7, but that might be technically true by a Nat's whatever. Yep. But for too many people, our economy feels stuck.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But it is stuck, isn't it?
Well, it certainly feels stuck. And one of the things about feeling stuck is if people aren't telling you, actually, you can go out and spend, go out and encourage. You need people to go and spend. We are a consumer-based economy, a service-based economy. 65% of our economy is based on us going out and buying stuff. Therefore, press the accelerator on those areas where you can get people to spend more, and then actually you'll get more reaction to it, because it may sound, say, well, hang on, you're encouraging more debt and things like that. Well, cost of debt is relatively low. You can encourage a bit more of that. But actually, that's where you go back to housing, get the housing market moving, and that knock-on effect, ripples through the economy far faster.
OK, Justin, honestly, I wish you were in number 11. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. Now, at 17 minutes past 7, let's get a check on the weather with Alex Deacon.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend, but for today it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. Say mostly dry, there are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning. And with a bit of brightness, we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places, though, staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still one or two showers over the northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps one or two showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry. Perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and will keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots. particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. Here are all the details you need for a chance to make this incredible prize yours.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, still to come, do stay with us. We're asking, is the outlook bleak for Rachel Reeves ahead of the budget? We're also asking, are Labour steering the economy to disaster? We're going to be debating that next.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel. It's, what time is it? 7:24?
Yes.
Right, now Rachel Reeves needs to be bold when she delivers her budget or face Groundhog Day, which is really what we're expecting, with more cuts or tax rises next year. Now, that's according to a think tank.
Yes, the Institute for Fiscal Studies expects the Chancellor will need to find at least £22 billion next month. That's due to higher borrowing costs, weaker growth and new spending commitments.
Well, the director of the IFS said the situation was largely of the Chancellor's own making, leading us to question whether Labour is steering the economy to disaster.
Well, to debate this now, we're joined by political commentators Kane Blackwell and Dominic Moffat. Very good morning to you both, gentlemen. Kane, let's start with you. Is Labour destroying the economy?
Yes, it is, completely. Good morning to you both. Look, I think the Conservatives managed the decline of the economy for a number of years, but I think Labour are accelerating it. What really needs to happen in this budget coming up, she really does need to be bold. She needs to be cutting wasteful spending. She needs to be getting rid of net zero. She needs to be getting rid of these massive, huge issues and departments and other things like that that are really, really spending so much money, of taxpayers' money, on them, and we're getting no bang for our buck in return. These are the things that she needs to be focusing on. She needs to be cutting taxes, giving people back more of their money so they can spend it on the economy and the things they like, and then we can grow the economy that way. You know, we need to create a bigger cake, for example, not just sort of keep dividing up the small cake that we have. So that's what she really needs to do.
It's a fair point, Dominic, isn't it? I mean, we were told pre the election, Labour's economic strategy was based a lot on growing the economy, which they've failed to do.
Good morning. Well, I'm not sure that's true, and frankly, it's quite nice to hear a Conservative political commentator admit that the Conservatives were presiding over the decline of Britain. It's bad for us, but nice to hear a bit of kind of self-reflection. What the reality of the situation is that we've got the second highest growth in the G7. Wages grew more in the first 10 months of the Labour government than they did in the last 10 years of the Conservative government.
0.1% growth.
Is at a 9-year high. Whatever you're saying about the economy, businesses don't agree.
Don't they? Don't they? I mean, really, you only have to look at the number of businesses who aren't hiring at the moment, because of the national insurance.
Business confidence is at a 9-year high. That is a true record of how businesses actually feel, whether or not we've got anecdotal feelings that some businesses aren't hiring at the moment. The fact is that people are having money put in their pocket by a Labour government that has promised 30 hours of free childcare a week. That's getting people back into work, and that we've got an economy that's actually finally growing and restabilising.
Dominic, we've got a number of jobless hitting a 4-year high. That came out yesterday. I mean, a number of businesses simply not able to afford to keep people on. They're having to let people go.
That's 500,000 new people have entered works under this government. I think the fact is that this government is working for people looking for jobs, and that's why business confidence is at a 9-year high, and we've got the highest growth in the G7.
Okay.
We can talk to people out and about in the street in Middle England. People do not feel better off. They feel worse off. Now, you can say that's anecdotal, you can say that, but it doesn't really matter. It's what people feel. So if they are not actually feeling the economic success of this government, as you apparently say it is, then it really doesn't matter. If the country isn't going to feel it and isn't actually experiencing all these great and wonderful things, then you haven't actually done the job that you need to do. This is the point. And really, we really need to get back to actually having sound fiscal management. We really, really do, because at the moment, we just keep
Our
seeing
fiscal management is
more
what
and
we've
more
got with Rachel
spending
Reeves. We've
and
had new trade
no
deals with
real
India,
commitment
with the
to
EU,
reducing
with
the
the
size
US.
of the state which this country
£120
needs.
billion worth of external investment, private investment coming into the UK. That's an absolute record number. And whether or not you say it's not real, when businesses through Lloyds say that business confidence is at a 9-year high, that is a real thing.
All right, Dominic, but then if that is the case, why is it that Rachel Reeves nearly a year ago, raised £30 billion worth of taxes to fill a black hole, which she said was there, which was disputed? 11 months on, we've got a £22 billion black hole that needs filling.
I think we're in one of those situations where fixing 15 years of the Conservative government is taking time, but that growth has also to some extent led to inflation, and this budget is going to be very wary of avoiding significant inflation. We've got a problem that the economy is successful, and that means that inflation is beginning to rise. This budget's going to try and tackle that.
Kane, last word to you.
Well, look, I think what she needs to come out, like I said, she needs to be bold. She needs to go and do the things that, quite frankly, is completely against her politics, which she obviously isn't going to do. She needs to reduce the size of the state, go back and reform welfare, which she couldn't do. She tried to do that, and obviously all of her socialist Labour MPs said, sorry, no, we can't do that. We actually need a real strong government who is going to actually put people first. And at the moment, the only people I see with a strong economic policy to actually reform our institutions is Reform UK and Nigel Farage. And that's who I think really we need to be focusing on.
OK, you two, Kane Blackwell, Dominic Moffat, thank you very much indeed. I'm sure you'll have a view on that. gbnews.com/your say.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, sumo wrestling is almost underway at the Royal Albert Hall. We're going to be joined by one of the coaches next. We have lots of questions, don't we?
We do.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Road users on the A9 at Thatcher should be aware of emergency roadworks with temporary traffic lights, potentially extending journey times. For heavy goods vehicles, there is a weight restriction of 7.5 tonnes on the M48 until further notice. In Greater London, drivers on the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 28 and 27 face delays due to a collision with 2 lanes closed, causing delays up to 50 minutes. And on the trains, Great Western Railway services are disrupted between Reading and Newbury. Buses are replacing trains on northern routes between Corkicle and Whitehaven, with more disruptions between Wakefield, Kirkgate and Leeds. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
Right, time for the sport. Paul Coyte is here.
You wait till you see what's coming in just a second. You wait, hang on there.
Before we get into any of that, how did you get along? Or how did Pat get along?
Oh, Big Pat Jennings.
Big Pat Jennings.
Did very
his
well.
Auction yesterday.
We mentioned the auction yesterday, and he came on the show and he's auctioning off all his shirts, etc. It raised over £400,000.
Wow.
Have a look at some of these. These are the ones. This is the blue shirt. We got the blue Spurs shirt from 1973, which was the League Cup shirt, which hopefully we'll see. How much do you reckon that went for?
Well, I offered up £5.
You did?
Oh, I reckon it went for several thousand.
33,480 quid.
Wow.
33,000. Let's see another one. George Best shirt. This is the George Best Northern Ireland shirt. Went for £20,600. We got the Russian shirt, which we like, the CCCP shirt.
Look at that. That's a blast from the past.
That went for around £6,000. And also, finally, we've got the Arsenal Cup final shirt. Went for £2.50. So there you go. So well done, Pat. No, that did all right. That went for £10,000 as well. So 400 grand.
God,
Ooh,
nice.
He did very, very well. So we're all going to go searching through our lofts and see what we can put out later.
Great idea.
Right.
Well, enough of that. Forget about the shirts. Take our shirts off.
Yes, let's all do that together, shall we? Sumo, it's on at the Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah.
It's the first time since 1991. It's been outside of Japan. I think the second time ever. And anyway, I thought it would be nice to talk sumo and learn a little more about the legendary sport with the wrestling coach. Hello there, from Oxford Sumo, Rob Godfrey. Rob, how on earth are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Listen, you're, and I mean this in a complimentary fashion, you seem a slimmer man to be a sumo coach. Does it make a difference?
Sumos. I'm one of the smallest sumos in the UK, but so I'm an amateur sumo, so I don't get paid in Japanese league. So there are actually weight categories. So there's lightweights, middleweights, heavyweights, open weights. So we do different categories, different wrestling. It makes it a little bit easier, but there's still an open weight for everyone to wrestle each other when there are tournaments on.
How exciting is it for you as a fan of sumo and someone that participates in the sport to have it come over here and to be taking place at the Royal Albert Hall? It must be huge for you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was about 10 years old the first time it came over, so I didn't really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I've been watching sumo on the Japanese channel for about 5 years and loving it. But it's great to actually see the rituals all the way through, see all the ceremonies going on properly in London, and it's amazing to see the characters that I know, because once you've been watching sumo for a little while, it's on every other month through the year, and you get to know the characters, you get to know the main sports people, and it's like watching your favourite footballers or your sports stars, but you get to know different characters. So we've got favourites like Wakataka Kage or different. And you watch them go up and down the league. They score points. 8.8 wins means they can stay in. 8 losses means they may have to go down the league.
So it's it's simple. I say it's simple. You see if you can answer this for me. How exactly does it work? Is it a matter of just pushing your opponent out of the ring, out of the dojo there?
Yeah, it's a very simple thing. You push them out the ring, out the dojo. You start off from a low squat stance.
Okay.
Touch the floor. As you touch
I can't
the floor,
even do that, let alone the rest of it. Yeah.
The flexibility comes and helps when you start to work on it. But yeah, you literally just push the other person out the ring or unbalance them so they slip and touch the floor. If they touch the floor with their hand, their knee, any other part of their body apart from the sole of their foot, that's when they lose. So it can be just as much as pushing and unbalancing the person. You do see wrestlers get picked right up and thrown right out of the ring into the crowd, which is pretty dramatic.
How much technique is there, Rob? Is it a lot of technique, or is it just all power and you just go in there and just push as hard as you can?
Power and size always helps.
Sure, I can imagine.
Technique really does help as well. I'm quite small, and I've fought against sumos twice my size, and it is possible to beat them, and it's normally quite a dramatic match.
To move on,
yeah,
are you
experience
thinking,
really helps.
are you going to put on, are you going to eat a little more to maybe further your career, or are you going to stay as you are?
I'm probably going to say fairly sound, fairly similar. I might eat a little bit more, but I'm not really trying to get to the top level, so I don't need to get huge. Yeah.
Now, the other question, I know this is probably what Ellie wanted to ask and is far too polite, but what you're wearing at the moment, what exactly is that and why are they worn by sumo wrestlers?
So, yeah, this is the Morshi belt.
Right.
This is a canvas belt. The professionals in the top ranks get to wear a silk belt, which is coloured, but this is just a plain canvas belt. It's thick, heavy canvas. It comes at mine's of 6 meters, and it would be up to about 9 meters for the bigger people. And it's literally just wound round, and it represents just an old-fashioned sort of Japanese loincloth, but it's been reinforced like sports clothing. So, as in judo, where judo would have been just general underclothing for Japanese people, this is, and it was reinforced to deal with the wrestling and the holding. This is reinforced as well, so it's just a nice solid loincloth. In the amateur leagues, you get to wear lycra shorts, lycra tops, just to hide your modesty a little bit.
Well, I was going to say thank you very much for wearing the cycling shorts today. We do appreciate that at this time in the morning.
Rob, how big is the sumo community in the UK?
It was quite small, but it's growing quite rapidly.
I'll bet.
There are lots of groups springing up all around Britain now. Originally, there wasn't too many groups, so I managed to find the British Sumo Federation, and I travelled over an hour to get to Aylesbury and train. And I was doing that for quite a while, and I thought, I'd love to start up my own club and see if people are interested locally and just get people involved.
And finally, are you going to be there over these 5 days? Surely you've got tickets, right?
I didn't manage to get tickets, unfortunately.
You think they would sort Rob out here, wouldn't you?
Not being great. Waiting on the phone, so I'm just watching it all on TV, on the live stream. So
well, hopefully someone is seeing you right now and thinking this is a man that needs to be there, because we think so. Rob, listen, great to speak to you. Keep up the great work with the sport, and let's hope it gets bigger and bigger. It's only another 1,500 years of history we've got to catch up on, but we'll do our best. And thanks a lot for the time.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers, Rob. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Oh, there we go. There he is. He looks fabulous, doesn't he? Yeah.
It's a fascinating... Hey. It's fascinating to watch.
It really is. It really is fascinating to watch, because there's nothing like it.
No.
What do you think? What on earth is going on? But that's it. It's simple. The rules, just not the personnel. And then if you're sitting on the cushion around the outside, there's a good chance that you're going to get hit, so you've got to be very careful. So if you go and you've got tickets, sit a little further back would be my advice.
Good tip.
All right, Paul, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Coity.
Right, still to come. One university has compared Margaret Thatcher to Hitler and is calling President Trump a terrorist leader. We'll tell you more in the papers with Charlotte and Tim in a couple of minutes.
But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Some showers heading over the Canaries over the next few days. We've seen some torrential downpours across parts of Spain and Italy recently. Things turning drier here, however. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal on Friday. And the sunshine returning to much of Italy. Still a few showers across the far south. The wet weather, though, is moving into Croatia and mainland Greece, although most of the Greek islands further east will be dry and sunny. And we'll see the sunshine returning to Dubrovnik through the weekend. Meanwhile, further showers likely in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
It's
got this funny aspect, hasn't it? That calling Nelson queer is funny, but it isn't. In a way, it's not funny at all. It's just part of a very large project to not only pretend that trans people started the gay rights movement and that everybody has a gender identity. But I don't know if you know, the University of Leicester has got this wonderful organisation, the Research Centre for Museums and Galleries, which also links up with NEMO. This is a European-wide organisation, and they hold events about queering the museums. So the museums are being fed this bonkers nonsense, yes, by organisations that we're funding, and I think this has to stop. It really has to stop.
Bev, Michelle here. Sorry to cut in and take this back to basics, but some of my viewers might be sitting there and they're not down with the latest iterations of the alphabet soup, so they might not actually even know what is queer.
Well, it's a good question, isn't it? Queer used to be, and in my mind still is, an insult. A lot of gay men, especially older gay men, remember being called queer just before they were beaten up. So for them, and for many people, and including for me as well, queer is an insult. But lots of young gays and lesbians have adopted the word queer these days, but funnily enough, lots of straight people have too. So you'll find straight couples calling themselves queer because they think their sex is a bit edgy or something. It's completely debased the whole notion of what it was, of what gay rights was about, and people have forgotten what gay rights were about. So I don't use the word queer at all. I don't use the word LGBTQ+, because it's a jumble of different interests which actually conflict with each other. They don't belong together.
The People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Right, 7:46. Let's see what's in the papers this morning with TV presenter Tim Vincent and editor-at-large at the Daily Mail, Charlotte Griffiths. Morning to you both. Let's start with the Telegraph, Charlotte, should we? Dominic Cummings chucking his oar in on the China scandal.
Yes, so Dominic Cummings is saying that in 2020 he was briefed with Boris Johnson about the fact that the Chinese were allowed to buy a company that looked after the data for the government, so exclusive secrets, the most important and extraordinary secrets, and they actually owned the company that kept these safe. So it's obviously the biggest data breach. He said it was an extremely secret, extremely dangerous data. And obviously he said, this is effing crazy, because it is effing crazy. How is this allowed to happen? But what I find very interesting about this story as well is that I think Dominic Cummings is trying to find cut-through, because I actually think readers, watchers of this show, the general public, are finding it hard to get into, because as you said earlier, it's murky and it's muddy. And people, I think, feel, the normal person on the street feels, this is the elites talking about secrets, talking about a country far away. They're finding it really hard to engage, and I don't think there's much cut through. But I think what Cummings is doing is trying to find really obvious examples that we can get into and understand.
It's a frightening time, though, isn't it, really? Because I would assume, as somebody that just is a sightseer of these events that unfold in front of us, that spying does go on for all governments, and espionage is, the label that they apply to it. But this is within the heart of our own parliament, our own country. There's two people employed by the government that allegedly have been spying, and it's been covered up. So I think Kemi Badenoch used all of her 5 questions yesterday in Parliament to ask about that. So I hope hopefully it's going to rumble away and somebody will actually give us some proper answers on it. Not yet, though.
Don't hold your breath, Tim.
Exactly.
What's this about Google robocars?
Well, talking about holding your breath, I don't know really where you fall on this, but driverless taxis, Waymos, which are owned by Google, will start operating next year in London, the first city in Europe to host the company's vehicles outside of the States. So they're already in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Atlanta and Austin, and London. Now, after Tokyo, they will be in. I'm not sure I'd be happy doing it. There's a really good quote, I think, from the London's Black Cab Drivers, one of the General Secretary of the Licensed Tax Drivers Association. He's obviously going to have a very black and white viewpoint on this, but it's quite funny. He says, I can't see them replacing cabs, not in my lifetime. I wouldn't feel comfortable sitting in a car I have no control over. London is not San Francisco. It is a series of Roman villages stuck together, and there is far more pedestrian traffic than in the US, not to mention all those lunatics on rental bikes. And I think that's the point.
Yeah.
These companies say, yeah, the brakes will click and immediately, even if a butterfly comes in front of you, but that doesn't affect the car that's behind you having to put the brakes on as well. So let's see if it happens, and let's see. The first time there's some accident or, God forbid, a fatality, will be interesting to see what happens if it carries on.
Yeah, I don't like the sound of it.
Would you get in one?
No.
Yes.
Would you?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't trust it. And I don't like the idea of cabbies losing their jobs.
Yeah.
They're so knowledgeable.
As a journalist, can I say, cabbies are full of good stories. Don't you love a chat with a cabbie? Yeah, they know everything. They've heard it all.
But it is the way it's one of these things. It's the way it's going.
Yeah, you've got to.
I'd like to. I said I'd do it. I mean, I'd like to do it for the experience of being driven around with no driver.
Well, the argument is that, you know, we've had the tube driver strike, that all the tubes could be operated exactly without drivers. I'm not saying they should be, but they could be.
Well, the DLR does it. Docklands Light Railway doesn't have any drivers.
So we are one step away from that, you know, and I think we have to embrace technology, and if we want to continue to be a world leader in lots of things, then it's going to happen. I don't want to be the first in it, though. I'll let you for a few weeks, Stephen, go around.
I'll try one for a week.
I'll trust a tube, a driverless tube, more than I would a driverless car.
Yeah,
because they're in a tunnel. They can only go forward and backwards.
Yeah, exactly.
But
less room for error.
Yeah, less room for error.
Right, oh dear me, the Times, Charlotte. So we've got the budget coming up. So we're not going to have any spending cuts according to this article, but we're just going to have more taxes on the wealthy.
Yes, and why I find this article interesting is because Rachel Reeves has said, by the way, I'm going to tax you all lots more, and none of this bleating and scaremongering you, which I find so frustrating, this kind of sneering attitude. So if you dare to say, well, actually, do you mind sort of not taxing us to high heaven, they come down and waggle their finger. And what she said is she's warned against scaremongering over previous raids on school fees. Well, the scaremongering on school fees all turned out to be correct. Many more people left the private sector. Many, many more private schools shut down than they were expecting. So actually, I think a bit of scaremongering would do Rachel Reeves some good.
The problem is, as well, with these kind of policies that she's applying or has applied and has continued to, is it all works if everybody's earning more money and the economy is going in that way. If it doesn't, then you're taxing the people that are already working hard. If they're not working as hard and not earning as much money, then where does that money come from? And one of your previous guests said about, you know, stop squeezing the lemons and grow more lemons. Let's start to get people in. Yeah, exactly. Let's get some people out there that are making the money that can contribute rather than taking the money off people that are already hard pressed.
It'll be interesting to see as well how Rachel Reeves defines a wealthy person. Will it be this year's working person?
Well, anybody that owns a house.
Such a good point, because their threshold is extremely low for what a wealthy person is.
And they might not feel very well.
If you have a flat that you've worked all your life for, that you're basically a wealthy person, is what she's saying.
Well, that's another thing. Inheritance tax is just, you know, bonkers, isn't it? You pay all your tax. It used to...
It's a whole new issue.
Yes, exactly.
That time, sadly. We'll see you later.
Here's the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend. But for today, it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry. There are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning. And with a bit of brightness, we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places, though, staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still one or two showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps one or two showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry. Perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and will keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M48, a 7.5-tonne weight restriction for heavy goods vehicles is in effect. In Salford, a broken-down vehicle on the M60 anti-clockwise between junction 17 and 15 is causing delays of 20 minutes. Surrey's M3 eastbound faces a road traffic collision between junction 3 and 2, closing 2 lanes out of 4 with delays of 20 minutes expected until 10:15 this morning. And on the trains, there is Great Western Railway disruption between Reading and Newbury. Northern buses replace trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven, and there is disruption between Wakefield, Kirkgate and Leeds. Remember, for more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first. GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward, and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense.
Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. Questions for the government on Britain's relationship with China.
Yes, the Deputy National Security Advisor has stated China's intelligence services are running large-scale espionage operations against the UK.
Well, he's warned those efforts threaten Britain's economic prosperity and the integrity of our democracy, but said the UK remains committed to a positive relationship with Beijing.
Well, the statements come as part of the collapsed Chinese spy case against two men accused of passing secrets to Beijing, charges that were dropped last month.
Well, it comes as former government advisor Dominic Cummings claims China has accessed highly classified information in a security breach that the government covered up.
The Institute for Fiscal Studies paints a grim picture for the Chancellor of the Exchequer as she faces Groundhog Day with more spending cuts and tax rises expected next year.
Concerns are raised over the state of our schools, with repair bills in Northern Ireland that could exceed £800 million.
Breaking news this morning, ONS data shows the UK economy grew by 0.1% in August after dipping in July.
Building things, and this way I can build some beautiful things, and this again has never been built, and we're going to start that pretty soon.
Donald Trump reveals big building plans for Washington, D.C. ahead of America's 250th anniversary next year.
Fresh accusations against Prince Andrew. Virginia's Euphrates Beyond the Grave autobiography claims that he was entitled and saw alleged sex with her as a birthright.
And it's just a week till the Caerphilly by-election. We've been talking to locals about the issues at the top of their agenda.
And sport this morning, the Premier League edged closer to limiting clubs with a spending cap. In F1, Britain's George Russell will stay at Mercedes with no sign of Max Verstappen joining them, and the man who won't cut his hair until Manchester United win 5 games on the bounce. It could be a long wait.
Another fairly drab day for most. Dry and cloudy sums it up. There will be a few light showers here and there. Equally, there'll be a few sunny spells here and there. Join me later for a full forecast to find out what you'll get today.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. And to our top story this morning, the Prime Minister has released details of the China spy scandal after being accused of staging a cover-up.
I'm deeply disappointed by the outcome. We wanted to see prosecutions. Mr. Speaker, I know just how seriously, rightly, that you take these matters. National security will always be the first priority of this government, and after legal advice, I have decided to publish the witness statement. Given the information contained, we will conduct a short process, but I want to make clear I intend to publish the witness statements in full.
Well, in those 3 witness statements, the details revealed the civil servant who gave evidence during the trial, or, well, in the run-up to the trial, admitted the UK was committed to a positive relationship with China, despite being quizzed about the threat that it posed.
Well, sensitive material on the Conservative leadership race was also supposedly leaked. The accused spies, Mr Cash and Mr Berry, both denied any wrongdoing after the case collapsed last month.
Let's talk to the Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride. Good morning to you. It's nice to see you this morning.
Good morning, Steve.
I mean, I want to talk to you about what is going on right now in a moment, but within all of this, I mean, the Tories are in a bit of a sticky position, aren't you? Because, I mean, all this stuff coming out from Dominic Cummings and others this morning saying that in 2020, when the Conservatives were in power, you sold a data hub to the Chinese, putting us at serious risk. So, I mean, you're on a bit of a dangerous footing for criticising the Labour government, aren't you?
Well, I think with the Dominic Cummings comments, there seems to be quite a bit of uncertainty as to exactly what may or may not have happened, and some of the statements that he has made appear to be being contradicted by Whitehall sources and reportedly by previous
not exactly. Tom Tugendhat
But
is backing that account. It's also in Bloomberg, and Tim Shipman has also got this story.
I think Tom Tugendhat was saying that in general terms the idea that China, of course, has been getting hold of secrets in our country and indeed intellectual property and cyber attacks and all sorts of other things is, of course, something that we know China has been up to for a very long time. But I think what all of this does, Stephen, is points to the absolute importance of getting on top of these situations when they are found out. And we do have a situation now where we had a case and charges against 2 individuals accused of spying for China on members of Parliament in our Parliament, a clear threat to our national security. And in that case collapsed, and the question is why? And what we know from the information that has now been released is that at the very least, I think, the government was entirely negligent in not actually being closer to this and ensuring that the threshold for prosecution was actually met, because the background for that was certainly there, or as many suspect, may actually willfully have been acting in a way that meant that the threshold for prosecution wasn't met, and the case collapsed in order to kowtow to Beijing at a time when the economy, of course, is in dire straits. And what we are now saying is that we think it's right that the government comes forward with the correspondence and memos and etc. between the CPS and civil servants, and indeed between ministers on these matters, so we can get to the bottom of it.
I mean, to be fair, I mean, to give you your due, it is very confusing when the Prime Minister appears to be, and we know he had some meetings with people involved in the case, but then said they didn't discuss any of the evidence, which doesn't appear to make a great deal of sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't at all. So the National Security Advisor, you would think, would be across something as significant as this, but the suggestion is that it was all weighted or focused on his deputy, a civil servant. And I think most people would say that just sounds totally incredulous. Look, it does feel a bit like a cover-up. We've had a Prime Minister that just 48 hours ago was telling us that the evidence that's now been released could not be released, and yet changed his position yesterday in Prime Minister's questions. We had Minister Minister's out 48 hours ago telling everybody that there were no substantive meetings around this matter involving the National Security Advisor at all, and yet we hear from the Prime Minister yesterday that there was. And what we are saying is, let's get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Let's have that information. Let's have the correspondence, the memos, etc., around this activity so that we can make a proper assessment.
And with all of this in mind, do you think we need to veto plans for the controversial super embassy, the Chinese super embassy, which would be in Tower Bridge in London? There is concern that they would have access to those underground cables that service Whitehall. That decision is was due to be made next week. Reports in the Times this morning that it's been deferred to November. What should happen here? Should it be rejected entirely?
Well, we should also have the correspondence around that, because there's been a suggestion that Jingwei, the company involved in steel up in Scunthorpe, who have a claim against the government of about £1 billion, may have been making suggestions that that could be waived if the embassy planning was waved through. I think we need to see all the correspondence around that too. But you're right, it isn't a strategically important position with all those cables going underneath it. We know the planning application was significantly redacted in terms of parts of that proposed building and what the uses of those parts would be. And so I think we need to know what the information is around that, what discussions have been held, what memos have been created, and what correspondence has happened.
All right, whilst we wait for people to try to get to the bottom of all of that, can I talk to you about GDP? We have seen growth, biggest growth in the G7, the government proudly tells us this morning, of 0.1%. I mean, as Justin Urquhart-Stewart said to us earlier on this morning, I mean, it's a rounding error, basically. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah. It's totally flat. The figure for July was a contraction of 0.1%. The figure for August, as you say, is an increase. At the moment, these figures get revised of 0.1%. I think the reference there to fastest growing the G7 was a reference to the IMF's recent statement on growth. But actually, if you look at the growth per person, i.e. GDP per capita, in next year, the IMF is saying we will have the lowest growth per capita in the G7 and below average growth per capita in the G7 this year. There's an appalling record on growth, and of course that's what's filtering through to people feeling much harder up. And we're heading in now to a budget at the end of November in which the Chancellor said yesterday, having broken all her previous promises, she's going to be putting taxes up. And there is an alternative. As we set out at our conference, £47 billion worth of savings across government, particularly welfare, getting people off benefits and into work. You know, we can make those savings, which will spare us this pain of further tax increases.
Well, also speaking yesterday, the Chancellor was blaming Brexit, the Tories, austerity for the dire state of the economy. How do you respond to that?
Well, the Chancellor will blame absolutely everybody except herself. Look, it was this government's choices that have caused the problem. They said during the run-up to the general election they would go for growth, they wouldn't be taxing everybody left, right and centre. They whacked £25 billion worth of tax increases on employers, which killed growth. They talked down the economy, borrowed a lot of money, spent a lot of money, stoked inflation. We've got the highest inflation in the G7. That's led to interest rates being higher. And on that colossal debt mountain that they're adding to, the servicing costs of that debt alone are $100 billion a year. That's twice what we spend on defence. And if you add all of that up, that's why you run out of fiscal headroom, as we're seeing, and that's why you have a government that is now coming back for yet more tax increases at the end of November. And the effect of that is to dampen the economy still further. And at the heart of the solution to this is getting a grip on government spending. And we showed at our conference how that can be done, and that is what the Chancellor should be doing, but she doesn't have the backbone or the plan to do it.
We had a guest on earlier on saying business confidence, I think it was a Lloyd's survey, but saying business confidence is actually pretty high at the moment. What do you make of that? Because I have to say I was a bit surprised.
Well, that's well, I've not heard that. That is a complete outlier. The Institute of Directors recently published one of their confidence surveys, which actually showed that business confidence was at its lowest ever recorded by them. And when I talk to businesses, as I do up and down the country, they are being pummeled by this government. You know, the jobs tax is really hitting them hard. It's feeding through to higher unemployment. We've got the highest unemployment rate now for 4 years, and it's feeding through to people's living standards, and people are really feeling it. So I'm afraid I'd love to see more confidence amongst our business community, but given the choices the government's made, I'm afraid I really don't think that's coming through at the moment.
OK, so Mel Stride, thank you very much for joining us on Breakfast this morning.
Right, let's see what our political correspondent Catherine Forster makes of all of that. Morning, Catherine. I mean, on the China business, it is like wading through treacle at the moment, trying to get to make head and a tail of it, frankly.
It really is, and because it is so complicated, I think it's not having perhaps the level of cut-through with the public that you might expect, because there's all so many different aspects of it. But if the Prime Minister thought that releasing these statements meant this was going to go away, I think it absolutely isn't, because important to say, both the men from this collapse case say that they've done nothing wrong, but the Prime Minister told us on the plane to India and has subsequently said that basically it's all the fault of the previous Tory government because of the evidence then. But these statements that have been released include statements while Labour's been in power. Both did talk about China being a threat in terms of espionage and so on, but it also saying that the government was committed to a positive relationship and that this was important to say. Well, why is it important to say? That is a political judgment. And Kemi Badenoch yesterday was asking if really we're expected to believe that it was only this Deputy National Security Advisor that had been responsible for all of this. And the Prime Minister said that yes, it was. Is that really credible? So I don't think the questions are going away on that. But more than that, now we've got these incredibly damning allegations, not just from Dominic Cummings, also overnight from Bloomberg, also overnight from Tim Shipman, the political editor of The Spectator, who I work very closely with at the Sunday Times. These are people with impeccable credentials saying fundamentally that Number 10 and government and Whitehall departments have been hacked and spied on by the Chinese. And in the worst case, and I'll read you this, the most catastrophic breach came when the Chinese purchased a company that controlled a data hub used by Whitehall departments to exchange information, including on highly classified projects. So the Chinese were able to take ownership of a data hub controlling information that the government would not want China to know about, and yet they were. And this apparently was going on for years. Boris Johnson, Dominic Cummings were told about it. They couldn't quite believe what they were hearing because it's so mad. You would think it couldn't possibly be true. But they were told that under no circumstances could this be spoken about. The Cabinet Office spokesman have said it is untrue to claim that the systems we use to transfer the most sensitive government information have been compromised. I would highlight there, says the most sensitive.
Yeah.
OK. Catherine, thank you.
I mean, it just beggars belief.
What a mess.
All of this, doesn't it? You wonder what's going on in Whitehall. I mean, not just now, but actually, as Catherine was saying, in previous years as well.
Going on a long time.
Anyway, what's going on in the royal family? Because in the latest bombshell claim, Prince Andrew was apparently very entitled and saw having sex with Virginia Giuffre as his birthright.
Yes, that's the latest revelation from the victim's shocking Beyond the Grave autobiography.
Well, the book's actually coming out next week and will also apparently reveal 3 occasions she says Jeffrey Epstein trafficked her to sleep with Prince Andrew.
Well, Prince Andrew, of course, denies any wrongdoing and all allegations.
Let's talk to former royal correspondent at The Sun, Charles Ray. Charlie, good to see you, as always. I mean, look, this is just something else for the House of York to deal with, which it's very, very hard to know how they make any headroom on this at all.
Well,
Good morning to you both, but it's not just the House of York. It is now the whole of the royal family, ends up getting slightly tainted with all this. I'm starting to wonder just how many more nails can be hammered into the metaphorical coffin of Prince Andrew, because this book, and I suppose you've seen the front cover of this book, is one of the most haunting front covers of a book I have ever seen in my life. And it is going to make really hard reading for anybody, and especially those and if they say they're not going to be reading it, that is a load of old tosh. Everybody's going to be glued to this book, because the allegations she makes in it, we know she makes those allegations, which Prince Andrew, denies. But there are certain things in there, like she says he's entitled, and he said in his clipped British tones, "Thank you very much," after the alleged sex. All this is coming back out again. We're lurching from one crisis with Prince Andrew and his wife to another practically every week. And you have to ask yourself, how much more do we have to take and listen to this before something is done? Now, the question is, what can be done? Andrew is still a member of the oldest chivalry order, the Garter, a Knight of the Garter, which he doesn't attend anymore because of these allegations. He should be stripped of that. And there's even moves in York to remove the title, the Duke of York. Now, what's going to happen to that title is it will be put in a storage cupboard. There's no member of the royal family will want to be the Duke of York ever again.
So tell us a bit more about what is revealed in this book. Are there details that we haven't heard before?
Oh, the details we haven't heard, it's purely the way it's been set down. There's 400 pages of this book, of going through the allegations again. Now, we know about the allegations. We know about the 3 times that she claims that she was trafficked. It is her words. And it's her words from, it's even worse, it's her words from beyond the grave. So she's going into all sorts of things. And as you and I just said, they talk about his clipped British accent, his entitlement. Now, Andrew has always been someone who is very arrogant, and this just underlines that whole thing.
Just very briefly, do you think we will see action from the King on Andrew in the wake of this? I mean, certainly we know Prince William's no fan, and he might be applying some pressure.
Yeah, you're right. They could well be. I mean, both William and Charles have got to sit down and have a chat about this, because they really need to do something. What they can do, I'm not too sure, because it involves going to Parliament and everything else to do things. Because Andrew he's not moving at a royal lodge. He's just sitting there. He's not doing anything. But this is going to carry on. This sort of stuff is going to keep on drip feeding into the country, and it's not going to be good for the monarchy.
OK, Charles Ray, as always, really good to see you. Thank you.
Pleasure.
OK, let's have a quick look at the weather for you with Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend, but for today it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry, there are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning. And with a bit of brightness, we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places, though, staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still 1 or 2 showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps 1 or 2 showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry. Perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, Parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and we'll keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the Channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, just time to tell you about the latest Great British giveaway. In fact, I don't know what's changed since you...
No, but it's a big one.
It is a big one, the biggest so far yet. A big motorhome and 30 grand in cash. Here are all the details you need for a chance to make it yours.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to be talking about the UK facing an adoption crisis. We'll find out more about that next.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
She's got a huge platform, so it really is wonderful that she's raised this issue.
Sandy, do you have any tips for parents who want to, keep screens out of the home? I find myself, as a parent, I'll be sort of Googling whether my son's development is right or whatever, or, Googling something about my son, and then I'll see that he's trying to play with me and I've been distracted by my phone. But I sort of have the best intentions, but I'm sure that's what everyone says. Do you have any tips for how to make phones and family more compatible?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly for very young children, they don't really have a good concept of time. So to say to them, you can have the device for 20 minutes means nothing. So what I recommend to families that I work with is that they have screen-free places in the home where no one has a screen, and there are particularly important ones. So meal times, which the Princess of Wales raised yesterday, that's hugely important. It's a great time for the family to get together and talk. And also children being on screens during meal times has been shown to contribute to childhood obesity, because children don't register when they're full and they don't stop eating because they're distracted. The other really good place to avoid screens for everyone is the bedroom, particularly the children's bedroom, because it affects the quality of their sleep, how long they sleep. And first thing in the morning is particularly bad. It's been shown that children who watch screens in the morning have worse behaviour, attention and concentration throughout the day, and they're far more likely to have a speech and language problem.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Welcome back. Now, the adoption charity Adoption Focus is warning of what it calls an adoption crisis as more children wait for families and fewer people are coming forward to adopt.
Well, the charity says children have already faced loss and instability, which they certainly have, and of course, and this is quite right, they deserve the chance of a permanent, loving home.
Well, ahead of National Adoption Week, the charity is urging the public to think about this one question. How long is too long to wait?
Well, let's talk to the Chief Executive at Adoption Focus, Anna Sharkey. Good to see you this morning, Anna. Why is it that in this country, when we probably all know someone who's been adopted or families who have adopted, and we know the tremendous good it does and what wonderful families they can be, why is it that we struggle with adoption in the UK?
Hello. Well, I think there's a whole range of reasons that happens, and often it's to do with the fact that there may be people thinking about adopting, thinking it is something that they could possibly do, and before they contact us, they come up with all the reasons as to why it isn't likely to happen for them. And that's because they put themselves off before they even speak to us.
And what sort of things are putting people off?
Well, what we know when they come through and speak to us and get to that point, that what they have thought about is, the process is going to be too difficult. I'm going to find it really intrusive. It's challenging. I'm not living in the right place. I've been married before, and that might be a problem. We're a same-sex couple. That might be a problem. I did something when I was 17 that means I've got a criminal record. Well, if the criminal record is that you nicked a lipstick from Boots, and that isn't a big problem, what we're concerned about in all of the checks that we do is that the children we entrust to their care are going to provide them with a loving, secure and safe home. And for all those things that people worry about, the way to find out whether or not there is a problem is speak to us about it, and don't worry about asking silly questions. There's nothing that is something that people can't ask us about, and we will give you the answers and help you through the process.
I always think that one thing we need to see more of, I know it's very difficult because obviously these families are private, but when you spend time with, as I have over the years, spend time with couples who have adopted, it completely changes your perception of adoption. This idea that they are, not your children or the things that people may think completely goes out the window when you see this in action.
Oh, completely. And I think that's another thing people worry about. Am I going to love these children in the way that I would have loved children that I'd have had through birth? And I can say from a very personal level, having lived in a family that fostered, and I also have an adopted sister, and my parents would say there is no difference. If you have a child and you are their parent, you love them and you don't worry about it. My mum always said it was very easy to say that as someone who had both birth children and an adopted daughter, because she could say that. For people coming forward who haven't got children already, who are thinking, am I going to be able to love that child? Then it's harder to think that that's possible, but absolutely people do. And it's mutual. Children grow up as well because, knowing that they are loved and feel valued and are part of that family. And that sets them up for the rest of their life as well. And they are then, connected to that family for life, and that's fantastic.
Are you noticing, Anna, that there are more children waiting for adoptive families, as well as this shortfall in people coming forward to adopt? And if so, what do you think has led us to that point?
There are actually, in terms of how many children have an adoption plan, which sounds very technical, but effectively what happens when a family is struggling and there are difficulties around their children and how they're managing, what local authority social workers are doing day in, day out is trying to support those families to be able to care for their own children. When that isn't possible, we are looking for those children to have a new family, which is the best place for children to grow up. And the numbers aren't huge. I'm talking about, at the moment, probably about 2,500 children. But each of those, that's a little person. That number is a little person. And the shortfall in terms of adopters is currently we're probably at about 1,500 adoptive families too few for the number of children who are waiting. And for, as I say, each of those is a number, and that's really difficult for those little people.
Yeah, absolutely. Anna, there'll be someone watching or listening this morning to whom this will get through. There's bound to be.
I do hope so.
Yeah, who at least will think, I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to make some inquiries, and that's the first step, isn't it? It's really good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
I do think it's just such a... So I've known a few families, and it's such a wonderful thing, and you're giving such a joy to these children.
It's an amazing thing you can do if you adopt. We didn't have time there to ask Anna, but I was going to ask. I don't know if you saw the comments from Jennifer Aniston this week.
Oh, yes,
a Hollywood actress, and she was talking about her fertility journey and how she wasn't able to have a baby of her own that she could give birth to. She was asked if she wanted to adopt. She said she didn't want to have a child that wasn't her own in that sense. And she was criticised for those comments, saying adoption's a wonderful thing.
I just think, well, look, each to their own.
Yeah.
Not everyone is cut out to
or maybe
adopt.
It's not right for everyone.
And yeah, it won't be right for everyone. However, for a lot of people, it's a very real option that, you know, they should explore. Could explore.
Well, let us know if you've explored it and what you think. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Right. Now, if you are... It's Thursday, isn't it? I've totally lost track being off work for a couple of weeks.
Welcome back, by the way. We've missed you.
Yeah, everyone's saying, have you been fired?
Everyone's really missed you. I think
everyone... on holiday.
We were worried you'd left, but you hadn't.
You
You'd only
weren't
gone
worried.
on your holiday.
Yeah. You weren't worried I'd left. You knew exactly where I was.
I knew exactly where I was, but I did miss you.
Yeah, thank you.
But anyway, welcome back.
Thank you. Anyway, if you're travelling to work or school this morning, here's your traffic and travel update.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Road users face delays on the M4 at Corryton due to congestion. In Salford, a broken-down vehicle near M6, junction 17, causes 30-minute delays. In Cambridgeshire, a collision on the A14 between junctions 20 and 22 causes a 40-minute delay. The M3 in Surrey faces 40-minute setbacks due to an accident. Temporary congestion affects the A38 between the A50 and A5132. And on the trains, Great Western Railway disruption impacts Reading and Newbury, with buses replacing services between Corkickle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Still to come, we're going to be joined by the man who won't cut his hair until Manchester United win 5 games on the bounce. He's got very big hair.
Oh, it's very big.
Yes, voluminous.
Oh, it looks like he's on. It looks like he stars in Stranger Things.
He could. He could have the part of an extra.
Very big extra. Anyway, we'll talk to him in just a minute.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Just got to say, I'm very disturbed. You know, we're having all this work done because you're having loads of work done at the minute.
Yeah, we're very in sync.
We're very in sync.
You're living in a building site and so am I. Although yours is a lot tighter.
My carpenter, Nathan, is messaging me from his house.
Yeah. We should be at work.
Saying
we should be at your house.
He's still in bed with the missus and sorting the kids out and all the rest of it. Why are you not at the house, Nathan?
Why is he telling you that? What is he saying? I'm going to be a bit late?
Just get to the house. Stairs to be built, Nathan. Come on, chop, chop.
Chop, chop, Nathan. You're slacking.
Can he just get your full mic'd?
Full mic'd?
You still get full mic these days?
If you say that or MDF, Paul, I'm throwing you out the
OK,
studio.
fine, say no more.
Right, go on.
Premier League is back, by the way, this weekend. That's the problem with it. You know, the international break, and I'm trying to make the best of it. You know, that's what I do. I'm here to talk about the sport and say how good it is. But international break can be a pain, and we miss the Premier League. So Manchester United have not been doing terribly well, as we know. This is why I've saved this for when Eamon's not here, because he'd start to get upset about the whole thing.
Oh dear.
But there's a gentleman who made a pledge, and I don't know whether this is a sensible thing.
No.
He would not get his hair cut until Manchester United won 5 games on the trot.
That could be 10 or 15 years ago.
Could be waiting a while.
He could be waiting a while. His name is Frank Eilert, and I'm pleased to say that Frank and his ever-growing hair is with us. Holy Frank, has it been over 20 years since Manchester United last won 5 games?
Just a year so far.
Good. Well, so now tell us, obviously things haven't been going so well. Was this under Erik ten Hag? I'm just trying to think how it would have all begun for you and to make this crazy decision, which you must be regretting now.
Yeah, so I started last October, and yeah, under Ten Hag, it had kind of been a bit of a difficult start to the season, much like this season. But obviously, at the time, it didn't feel quite as unrealistic to win 5 games in a row. It was kind of something to, you know, spread some humour to other Man United fans in a bit of a difficult time, but I thought it would only go on for maybe 3 or 4 months, and then that would be it. But here we are.
Are you going to be at a point where you're just going to say, well, maybe like the manager is, I can't take it anymore, I've got to stop, this cannot continue the way things are?
I think I've got to see it through to the end now. You know, I've come this far. It's been over a year. I think if I was going to quit, I would have quit already.
I've got to say, you could get a great job in a Queen tribute band.
Or a Queen's Guard.
I was going to say a Queen's Guard. It really is. It really is a magnificent do. I mean, I don't want to move away from the football because that's my job, but is there product going on there? Is there a lot of work that has to go into that? Because it really is quite magnificent, Frank.
It is quite time-consuming now, yeah. You know, a lot of washing and drying and brushing. A lot more time taken compared to normal.
Does it feel heavy on your head?
No, it's quite fluffy, to be honest. So it's not as heavy as it looks.
It's not as dense as it looks.
Now, let's talk about Manchester United. So you're obviously a huge Manchester United fan. What do you think is going to happen? Because, you know, some of us that support other clubs may look at Manchester United and think, well, you know, we're not too worried. It's actually quite fun what's going on. But for you, there's more than one reason. It's not only the hair, but also you must be worried about the club as well.
Yeah, no, of course. I want to see us get back to winning ways as soon as possible. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what's gone wrong, but I'm trying to keep optimistic that we're going to get back to more positivity at some point. I think that, you know, that I keep trying to look at some stats and stuff to help me out.
They're not helping, are they, Frank?
We've had the most shots in the Premier League. We've got one of the most expected goals. So I feel like if a couple of those go in, we're having a bit of a different conversation. But yeah, I feel like we just need to get some consistency back.
Well, you're playing away at Liverpool at the weekend, so I don't think the haircut is going to get any shorter for any time soon. Have you planned anything, though, for the moment that maybe it does happen? Maybe on the pitch at Old Trafford would be the place. Then again, you probably cover the whole pitch with hair.
The ideal ending, wouldn't it? Yeah, no plan yet, but yeah. Well, I think that there's a little bit of time to plan that, if I'm honest.
Frank, enjoy the hair while it lasts.
Well, the good news is winter's coming. It'll keep your ears warm.
That's fair.
I was thinking that.
That's true.
Yeah. That's the thing about Stephen, always looking on the good side of everything. Look at that. It really is fantastic. Frank.
Lovely. All right, thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
Good luck at the weekend, Frank. Liverpool, Manchester United. And by the way, Clive Allen and my predictions, which you will find on gbnews.com.
Always very good.
We had a bad week last week. Well, I did, but Clive didn't. But they'll be on it.
That does. It's always good.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
Well, he is a professional.
He knows his onions.
Unlike some of us.
A bit like you.
All right, Paul, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Frank. I love that. It's brilliant.
It's great hair, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Great head of hair.
Great do.
Anyway, do stay with us. Still to come, we're going to find out why Prince Louis's Conquer dream is over.
Yes, but first, if you want some holiday sun, here's the European forecast.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Some showers heading over the Canaries over the next few days. We've seen some torrential downpours across parts of Spain and Italy recently. Things turning drier here, however. Plenty of sunshine for Spain and Portugal on Friday. And the sunshine returning to much of Italy. Still a few showers across the far south. The wet weather, though, is moving into Croatia and mainland Greece, although most of the Greek islands further east will be dry and sunny. And we'll see the sunshine returning to Dubrovnik through the weekend. Meanwhile, further showers likely in Tenerife.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Already, you can just see it buzzing. The New Zealand-France game is going on, the bronze final in the stadium at the moment, and there's about 45,000 people already in the stadium watching it. So the energy in this place is unbelievable, and the excitement, because this game is a real game of jeopardy, the final between England and Canada.
I mean, you've got caps galore, you've been involved in coaching men and women's rugby. So, and, you know, you won in 1994. What's it like to be a winner?
Well, this is the shirt that I wore back in the day in 1994. This is my World Cup winning shirt, so I'm hoping it's going to bring a bit of luck to the girls. But it was an incredibly special time. But for me to see how the game has changed, we had 6,000 people watch us win that World Cup, and now women's sport in this country, it's our Lionesses, the Red Roses, the Cricket World Cup is the tickets are on sale for that next year, and people are choosing to watch women's sport and really, really enjoying the event. So it's fantastic, and the change over that 30-year span is quite remarkable.
What do you think has made the difference? Why is it becoming, I mean, as you say, football is the same. Why is it becoming more acceptable now? And not just for women and girls to follow the sport as well, but I mean, I go to West Ham regularly for my sins, but so many men are now starting to pay a little bit of attention without being too sneery.
Well, absolutely, but I think the biggest thing is the quality of the product. Because the girls have been given contracts and are now able to train, not have to go to work and then leave a full day's work and come training and then do almost a second job in order to deliver on the skills. Both the Lionesses, the Roses, everybody now at the top end of the game is being financially rewarded for it, so they can actually concentrate on their sport.
GB News, the People's Channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
One side.
All right, time to go through the papers with editor-at-large of the Mail on Sunday, Charlotte Griffiths, and TV presenter, a man who can't take a good picture, Tim Vincent. I don't know why, but he cannot take a good picture.
I know. It's a secret I've had for many years. If I ever try and pose for a picture, I always look like I'm fighting off a stroke. I'm like, can't quite do. Charlotte just took a picture, you see, that's why.
He's so photogenic, don't listen.
Yeah, of course he is.
Charlotte, should we have a look at Prince Louis's Conquer dream? Yes, this is a very serious Conquer story. So Prince Louis was invited to be the patron of the World Conquer Championships. And the reason was because Catherine, said that she keeps finding Conquers in every orifice of Kensington Palace, in his bed, in his trucks, under his pillow. He's obsessed with Conquers. And also his grandfather, the king, donated 300 Conquers to this year's championships because there weren't enough Conquers. There was a Conquer shortage.
Is there really?
So it's all building up towards Louis being the patron of the Conquer Championships. But no, alas, his mother intervened and said he has to concentrate on his schoolwork.
Oh, good for her.
So I'm very disappointed in Catherine, especially as she's patron of the Scouts and she's very into nature. I think she should have let him have this one. I thought she was being a bit mean on old Prince Louis.
I thought with health and safety that you wouldn't be allowed to have Conquer Championships anymore. But there must be an age of people out there that don't even know what Conquers are. You know, do you remember Conquers?
They were banned in my primary school.
Exactly,
People were, like, poking each other's eyes out with the Conquers.
Last year...
Too far.
They had to... so actually this year they had metal detectors on the Conquers.
Oh, well, there was
last year somebody used a steel one.
Yes, there was the guy with the metal one painted it. Yeah, well, he won, though, didn't he? Good on him.
Yeah.
I bet soaking them in vinegar, which is what I used to do.
What difference does that make?
It's meant to make them a bit harder, but they are a bit more shrivelly.
All right, well,
in the Times, Tim, the Royal Mail has been fined 21 million quid.
For late delivery of letters, which is probably it's not news to anybody that actually uses the Royal Mail anyway. Third largest fine ever by the media and telecoms regulator Ofcom. It's something like, I think 93% is done on time, 92 point something is below the level of where they should have been, and that's what they've hit. It's happening more and more. But I think the problem is I hardly ever post anything now. We all use emails. But I had to go in and buy some second-class stamps the other day to send a card to somebody. £1,500 for 4 stamps. It was absolutely ridiculous. And there's no guarantee it's going to get there in the time that they say anymore. So good that they're being penalised, because more and more people are using Amazon Amazon or Yodel or all these other deliveries, because they actually do what they say they're going to do and deliver it on time.
I mean, you bet, Joe, I did actually go and buy 100 first class the other day because we had some invites to send out, and then I thought, well, I'll get 100 because that'll cover us for Christmas cards as well.
Yeah, but that shows...
£170.
For 100.
I nearly died.
Yeah, and they're not delivering... Well, did you get your invite, though, from Stephen? Because I didn't, again.
What invite? And what invitation?
It's a family event. It's a of 100. You've got a big family.
This is the second party I've heard of that I have not been invited to.
Anyway, what else can we look at?
Maybe you'll get a Christmas card.
Charlotte, 8 million of us are obese in the UK, according to the Mail.
This is a really interesting story because what's happening is they're changing the way they decide whether you're obese. So they're now going to use anthropometric testing. It's hard to say. So they're going to not only look at your BMI, which has to be 30 or above to be obese, they're also going to look at your waist size. So if you're light but big round the middle, you'll be classified as obese. Why this is, I think, very interesting is because if you're 70 or over, you're going to be 80% of people 70 or over are now going to be classed as obese because, of course, when you get to middle age, you have the old middle age spread. So that's going to be double the amount of over 70s are going to be classified as obese now.
You find neither me nor Tim have had a middle age spread.
I've got it going on. I've got, it's already started. Over 70 for sure. You kind of that does happen. You know.
Yeah.
So if you're 70 or over, watch out because the NHS is going to be calling you obese. 80% of you obese.
Oh, gosh. Tim, let's have a look at vets. They could be made to publish their price lists.
Well, pardon my pun, but is a pet peeve for me. I don't know if you guys have pets at home. I've had various dogs, and I come from a family that have always had pets. I can remember 20, 30 years ago, if you had a dog or a cat, it was just part and parcel of the family. Now it's actually a financial commitment to have a dog or a pet. You know, they are part of our families, they are family members. And over the years, 5 or 6 major companies have bought up most of the vets in this country, and I might have the numbers not quite right, but the principle is correct. And the prices have progressively gone up 20%, 30% higher than they should have been. So this investigation has come out by the government or a government-affiliated organisation, and have said that the vets will now have to, in future, publish what their prices are, and if indeed, which is what a lot of people do now, is go online to buy their medication for their animals, which is much there you go, it's much cheaper, but you don't know what you're getting, so you want to be sure that it's the right thing, don't you?
We do it for the cat, because he's got to have this stuff twice a day, his thyroid. The vet was charging £160 per bottle, which lasts a couple of months, but we can buy it for something like 50.
Yeah.
But you need a prescription for the vets to get it, for which they then charge you £20.
Wow.
Just for writing a prescription.
Isn't it? And all you're trying to do is keep something...
Keep the cat alive.
Yeah, in good health. And it is our family members, so they have us over a barrel, really. But I'm glad that's happened, because it's got really bad recently.
Good idea.
Good.
Tim, Charlotte, thank you very much indeed for your company today.
Right, let's have a look at the weather with Alex.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning, welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend, but for today it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry, there are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning, and with a bit of brightness we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places though staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still 1 or 2 showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps 1 or 2 showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry, perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland, but again here, just like the past few days, Parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and will keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. A broken down vehicle on the M8 eastbound junction 7 off slip is causing restrictions. Road users should exercise caution. On the A19 northbound between the junctions with the A183 and the A1231 near Sunderland, a collision has closed 2 of 3 lanes, resulting in 2-hour delays. Cambridgeshire's A14 eastbound between junction 20 and junction 22 faces a road incident with 1 of 2 lanes closed and a 30-minute delay expected. The Salford District's M60 anti-clockwise between junction 17 and junction 15 is experiencing a 50-minute delay due to a broken down vehicle. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
There's just 3 weeks left to see how you could be our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good morning. Questions for the government on Britain's relationship with China.
Yes, the Deputy National Security Advisor has stated China's intelligence services are running large-scale espionage operations against the UK.
Earlier, we spoke to the Shadow Chancellor, Mel Stride.
It does feel a bit like a cover-up. We've had a Prime Minister that just 48 hours ago was telling us that the evidence that's now been released could not be released, and yet changed his position.
The Institute for Fiscal Studies paints a grim picture for the Chancellor of the Exchequer as she faces Groundhog Day with more spending cuts and tax rises expected next year.
Concerns are raised over the state of our schools, with repair bills in Northern Ireland that could be up to £800 million.
Breaking news this morning, ONS data shows the UK economy grew by 0.1% in August after dipping in July.
Building things, and this way I can build some beautiful things, and this, again, has never been built, and we're going to start that pretty soon.
Donald Trump reveals big building plans for Washington, D.C. ahead of America's 250th anniversary next year.
Fresh accusations against Prince Andrew. Virginia's Euphra's Beyond the Grave autobiography claims that he was entitled and saw alleged sex with her as a birthright.
And it's just a week until the Caerphilly by-election. We've been talking to locals about the issues at the top of their agenda.
Another fairly drab day for most. Dry and cloudy sums it up. There will be a few light showers here and there. Equally, there'll be a few sunny spells here and there. Join me later for a full forecast to find out what you'll get today.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Now, the Prime Minister has released details of the China spy scandal after being accused of staging a cover-up.
I'm deeply disappointed by the outcome. We wanted to see prosecutions. Mr. Speaker, I know just how seriously, rightly, that you take these matters. National security will always be the first priority of this government, and after legal advice, I have decided to publish the witness statements. Given the information contained, we will conduct a short process, but I want to make clear I intend to publish the witness statements in full.
Well, in 3 witness statements, details reveal the civil servant who gave evidence during the trial admitted the UK was committed to a positive relationship with China. That's despite being quizzed about the threat it posed.
Sensitive material on the Conservative leadership race was supposedly leaked. The accused spies, Christopher Cash and Christopher Berry, both deny any wrongdoing after the case collapsed last month.
Well, let's speak to the government now. We're joined by Health and Social Care Minister Stephen Kinnock. Good to see you this morning, Mr Kinnock.
Good morning. Hello.
Good morning. And we saw last night, didn't we, some of those witness statements published for the first time, but now it seems there's more questions than answers. So will the government provide not just witness statements, but also meeting minutes and all correspondence related to the Chinese spy case?
Well, the first thing to say is we're really disappointed that these prosecutions didn't go ahead. They took place between 2021 and 2023. The legal basis then was an antiquated piece of legislation, the Official Secrets Act. Sadly, it took the previous Conservative government 8 years to update that act. I don't know what they were doing in that time. Maybe they were dealing with Partygate, botching Brexit, or crashing the economy with Liz Truss's mini-budget. I don't know. They were clearly distracted. But as a result, the Crown Prosecution Service felt that the prosecutions couldn't go ahead. Regarding your question around minutes of other meetings, there are government processes and protocols around this. Of course, we have to be very careful about the information that gets released because that can end up compromising our national security, which would obviously not be the right thing to do. So I think the government and the Prime Minister have shown huge amounts of transparency by publishing these 3 witness statements, and what I think they clearly show is the position of the government, indeed from the Conservative to Labour transition. The broad position has remained the same, which is that you can't boil the relationship with China down to one word of it being an enemy. You have to see it in the round in terms of all of the important cooperation we need to have with them on vital issues like climate change, competing on things like technology and foreign direct investment, but also, of course, being very clear-eyed and robust and strong when it comes to protecting our national security and promoting our national interest.
Right, that's a fair point, right? And any reasonable person would agree with that. However, there are all these questions. I mean, for example, on the meetings that Ellie mentioned, 1st of September, Jonathan Powell, the National Security Advisor, who hasn't been mentioned in any of this so far, and the Permanent Secretary to the Foreign Office, Oliver Robbins, meet to discuss the trial, we're told. The Prime Minister says the meeting did not involve discussing any evidence. Pull the other one.
Well, the first thing to say is the final submissions in terms of evidence were in August 2024, and this meeting apparently took place in September 2024. So the meeting has no relevance to the evidence that was submitted to the CPS because it took place after the final evidence was submitted. In terms of the role of the Deputy National Security Advisor and of the National Security Advisor, as the Prime Minister made very clear in Prime Minister's questions yesterday, no ministers or special advisors were involved in the submission of evidence
Are we
to
really meant
the
to
Crown
believe that,
Prosecution
though?
Service.
Are we really meant to
The
believe
only
that,
evidence
Mr.
that was
Kinnock?
submitted was by the Deputy National Security Advisor.
And it was and the Deputy National Security Advisor never discussed anything with the Home Secretary or anyone in Downing Street. Are we truly meant to believe that?
The Prime Minister made that crystal clear yesterday. No ministers or special advisors were involved in the submission or provision of evidence to the Crown Prosecution Service.
Can we and I know you've got an issue that you want to talk about as well, and I promise you we will get to that, but can we ask you about Rachel Reeves and the upcoming budget? We're being told it could be some sort of Groundhog Day. I mean, a year ago she said this wouldn't happen again. She wouldn't ask for more money again in the way that she did 12 months ago. And here we are, she's saying, yes, actually, I will be wanting more money. Taxes are going to go up somehow. And yet we're seeing growth disintegrating. What is going so horribly wrong with our economy?
Well, taxes are a matter for the Chancellor, and we'll have the budget on the 26th of November. It wouldn't be right for me to provide a running commentary on that. In terms of your broader question about the economy, well, actually, the UK was the highest growing economy in the G7 in the first 6 months of this year. We've had 5 interest rates cut. We've seen significant growth in investment thanks to the changes to the borrowing rules that were made. We've seen wages going up, and as a result of the investment that we've been able to do in our NHS, thanks to the decisions that the Chancellor made, we've seen 5 million additional appointments, 2,000 GPs on the front line, the best settlement for pharmacy in many, many years. Just some examples of how we're rebuilding our public services thanks to the decisions that the Chancellor made at the last budget.
Yeah, but it's lies. Sorry, Ellie, I was going to say it's lies, damn lies and statistics. The IMF actually says that we will have the lowest growth per capita in the G7 next year.
That's the projection for next year. What I was saying is that we had the highest growth in the G7 for the first 6 months of this year. That is a matter of fact. So, you know, we recognise that we were left a dire inheritance with the fiscal position appalling, debt going through the roof, economy stagnating, public services on their knees. It's not going to be an overnight job to fix all of this, but we are in the foothills of a recovery for the reasons that I just pointed out, but there's still a very, very long way to go.
But surely that projection is just a reflection of how you're doing.
Well, we'll see if that comes to reality. Forecasts don't always prove to be true. I think the measures that this government is taking, for example, in radically improving our trading relationship with the European Union, unleashing our planning laws to get growth back into the economy and to address the housing crisis, fixing our public services is a vitally important part of the growth agenda. You know, a healthy nation is a precondition for being a wealthy nation. So those are the steps that we're taking. Let's see if those forecasts prove to be true, but it is a matter of fact that we were the highest growing economy in the first 6 months of this year.
I mean, is it time? I mean, are you comfortable on a personal level? I mean, bear in mind, you know, what you've seen with your parents over the years. I mean, you've got politics in the blood, Mr. Kinnock, haven't you? So, what do you sit back and think of when you look at all of this? When you've got experts like Justin Urquhart-Stewart saying, actually, this budget needs to be scrapped before it's begun. You need a complete restructure. You've got to talk up the economy. You've got to do things like get rid of stamp duty to really boost the housing market. And to use his words, he says, you've got to stop squeezing lemons and start growing orchards.
There's no doubt that our economy was left teetering on the brink of collapse when we were coming into power in July 2024. We need that radical rewiring of the way that our economy works. If you just look at, for example, our manufacturing sector, back in the 1970s, it was about 30% of our GDP. It's now around about 10% of our GDP. As a result, growth in those parts of the country that were manufacturing heartlands has really started to, has severely gone down, and wealth and resources and talent were all being sucked into London and the southeast. So we have to rebalance the economy. The government's Pride in Place programme, the local growth programmes will really help to do that. The investment in infrastructure and skills, rebuilding up apprentices, having an industrial strategy that is really going to attract investment into our country, changing the way our pension funds work so that we can get investment happening in the UK rather than all going offshore. These are huge reforms that the government is bringing forward. A lot of them are about fixing exactly the deep-seated structural problems that our economy faces that you've rightly pointed to, but those are reforms that are going to take some time to be planted and then to grow and to bear fruit.
Now, Ms. Kinnock, we are almost out of time with you, but I did want to ask you about what you're here to talk to us about today, because yesterday you visited a very special place, didn't you? Noah's Ark Children's Hospice in Barnet in London. I was there last Christmas for GB News. It's a wonderful place for children. And it's because you are pledging support for children's hospices, aren't you? Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, I'm so pleased and proud to be able to announce today that we are making an £80 million allocation for children's hospices over 3 years. And that's so important because we've moved away from the annual funding cycle that was the system under the previous government, giving that 3-year certainty and stability. And as you rightly say, I was at Noah's Ark yesterday. What a wonderful place, truly inspiring, helping children with life-limiting conditions, doing so much around things like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, bereavement counselling. And now, as the Chief Executive said to me yesterday, thanks to this 3-year allocation, I am now able to plan my staffing levels for 3 years. I don't face that annual cliff edge, and I can really start to push forward with improving and strengthening the services that we provide. It is the definition of care and compassion and empathy, truly an inspiring place. The work that our children's hospices do is at the heart of what this government wants to do in terms of moving care from hospital to the community, and that's why I'm so pleased and proud that we're able to make this announcement today.
OK, Minister, it's good to see you. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate it. Let's see what our political correspondent, Catherine Forster, makes of all of that.
Well,
what do you think, Catherine?
The government wants to talk about lots of things, doesn't it? But it's finding it very hard to get a hearing because, of course, the economy is not in a good place. We've got all this speculation about the budget, these quite bleak forecasts going forward, pretty much very low growth, and him saying the highest growth in the G7. Well, you know, yeah, growth is forecast to be higher next year than anywhere but America, but it's still forecast to be pretty anemic. It's only because lots of places in Europe are doing even worse than we are. So not much good news really on the horizon. And on China, I thought it was really interesting, Ellie, when you asked him, are we supposed to believe really that only this Deputy National Security Advisor was involved in putting this evidence forward to the Crown Prosecution Service? He said no minister or SPAD was involved in the provision or submission of evidence. That's a very specific wording. That does not mean that nobody gave that deputy any advice. And I think it's really striking that in the advice that he submitted under this government, he talked about how it was important to say that the government wanted a positive relationship with China.
OK. Catherine, thanks very much indeed.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, concern over the state of our schools. We're going to tell you more about that next.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray,
Are you a human trafficker?
boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
you're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
only on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. Now, concerns have been raised over the state of schools in Northern Ireland, with costs thought to be up to £800 million.
Yes, Stormont, as a result of all this, is calling for an urgent system-wide reform in schools.
Well, a report found that the state of disrepair is so dire that it could cause a health and safety risk to young people and their education.
Well, it comes after it was revealed earlier in the year the true cost of bringing the school estate across the UK up to scratch could be nearly £14 billion.
Oof. Well, let's speak now to the chairman of the Campaign for Real Education, Chris McGovern. Morning to you, Chris. What do you make of this report? Are you surprised by its findings?
No, this has been a problem for some decades, actually. And the figure we just mentioned, a 14 billion amount needed to repair our schools across England, actually is much higher now. That was a report a few years ago. It's probably 20 billion now. We talk about broken Britain. This is the roads are falling apart, the hospitals are falling apart, and the schools are falling apart. And of course, to be honest, it's about the economy. You've been talking about the economy with the minister earlier, but actually, if the economy is not generating the income, then we can't afford to do the repairs we need. And then we should go back to the education system, because to rebuild these schools, to repair these schools, we need plumbers, we need roofers, we need engineers, electricians. Our schools aren't producing these people. So, there's a real problem here, and it's linked to the economy. And, by the way, Northern Ireland is interesting because they actually have the best results in the UK, so they've got a problem, but it's not as big as the problem in England.
Yeah. So what do we do about it? Is there anything we can do in the short term? No one's going to stump up, billions upon billions of pounds because we haven't got it at the moment. So what do we have to do? Do we just have to put up with it?
Well, the government are putting extra money in and have been since for a few years now. The extra $3 billion a year is not enough. We need a plan, a long-term plan, because always in education we're looking at short-term solutions. But we need to have an education system which functions, produces highly intelligent pupils, well-educated, that will help the economy. There is no short-term solution, but there is a real health and safety problem here. I've often said, and I'm not alone in saying this, if you want to see our economy in 20 years' time, look at our education system today. And I could have said that 20 years ago. We've got a problem here, and it's to do with generating the wealth. But look, kids' safety is being jeopardised. The only solution I could think of, Stephen, is perhaps to ask parents if they would voluntarily, as a voluntary thing, contribute to the upkeep of their buildings. We shouldn't have to do that, but maybe that's the only way we can do it, because it needs money, and we're not generating the money.
Chris, we've got to leave it there, but we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Now, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now. Here are all of the details that you need for a chance to make it yours.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Just a quick bit of breaking news, and it's confirmation, actually, about Ricky Hatton. The inquest has decided, come to the conclusion that he did take his own life. That's according to it's a provisional cause of death at Stockport Coroner's Court. I mean, we sort of knew it anyway, but it has been confirmed by the coroner that he did take his own life at the age of 46. Just to point out, I think, that if you are in any sort of distress or worried or having thoughts of that type, you can get in touch with the Samaritans anytime. On the phone, it's 116123, or you can email Joe, J-O, at samaritans.org.
Now, Britain's Newsroom is coming up at 9:30. Andrew Pearce and Miriam Cates are here to tell us all about it. Morning, you two.
Good morning.
What have you got coming up?
Well, China is in the front pages, but it's very complicated. And what does it actually mean for viewers at home? So we're going to be focusing on the upcoming budget and what kinds of tax rises people might be expecting.
Not least because our taxes are rising fastest in this country than any country in the G7. So is our inflation.
Don't mention the G7. We're doing better than anyone in the G7 if you listen to the government.
Unemployment has gone up every month since this wretched government got into power. So that's bad news for people listening and watching. News.
We're also going to be asking whether pensioners are going to become second-class citizens if this digital ID card comes in. Will they still be able to access pensions, all kinds of other things if they can't get on the digital ID?
Is that because older people like Stephen struggle with IT?
He's actually a bit of a whiz kid with his tech.
The bad thing is, Andrew, I was going to throw a similar insult at you.
That's why I got there first. No, I'm the first to admit I am so hopeless with all this digital stuff, and I do not want the digital ID card under any circumstances.
No, absolutely. Well, hopefully it won't happen, but all that after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Morning. Welcome along to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. We are going to see a change in the weather through the weekend. But for today, it's kind of more of the same. Another largely cloudy, mostly dry day with light winds. I say mostly dry. There are a few light showers around, particularly over northern Scotland and East Anglia in the southeast of England, seeing a bit of a dank and drizzly start in places too. There are also some breaks in the clouds, so some places waking up to a little bit of sunshine, and any morning mist and fog in place will tend to clear away fairly rapidly through the morning. And with a bit of brightness, we could reach 15, 16 degrees. Most places, though, staying quite cloudy with temperatures about 12 or 13 degrees. Not a great deal of change as we go through this evening. Still one or two showers over the Northern Isles of Scotland, and still perhaps one or two showers just coming in along the south coast of England. But generally here dry. Perhaps some breaks in the cloud, particularly to the west of hills, so parts of southwest England, West Wales, seeing a little bit of sunshine. Staying fairly cloudy for Northern Ireland and most of Scotland. But again here, just like the past few days, parts of central Scotland seeing some sunshine, but a few of those showers keeping going over northern Scotland, and we'll keep things a little damp across northernmost parts of the mainland through the night too. And we'll continue to see one or two of those showers getting into parts of Kent, perhaps just drifting through the channel into parts of East Devon as well. We could see a few showers. Otherwise, mostly dry nights. We'll keep a lot of clouds, and that'll keep the temperatures up to between about 7 to 10 Celsius, maybe dipping a little lower in some rural spots, particularly if we have any breaks in the cloud. But again, tomorrow, breaks in the cloud, hard to find for most. Another fairly drab day. Still some light showers across the far north of Scotland and at times along the south coast of England. Southwest Wales may again see some breaks in the cloud, as could parts of western Scotland, and a bit of sunshine. But generally dry and cloudy will again be the theme on Friday, but it is going to change as we head into the weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M8 eastbound junction 7 off slip is restricted due to a broken down vehicle. In Sunderland, a collision on the A19 northbound causes lane closures and 2-hour delays. Sandwell's M6 between junctions 8 and 7 southbound is delayed by a broken down vehicle. Cambridgeshire's A14 eastbound between junctions 23 and 24 has a lane closed by a broken down vehicle. The M1 southbound in Northamptonshire between junctions 15A and 15 is affected by a collision with lane closures. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Crash Law 24 sponsors GB News Traffic and Travel Report.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Lee Purvis. Lee, I think last night there were probably 10 million armchair judges watching, but what was your verdict on what you saw?
I thought it was fantastic. I was slightly taken aback at how harsh the judges seemed to be, certainly for the first week of them at voting. I think Karen Carney's jive was fantastic, made me want to take up jiving. And I think Ross King got off really badly, actually. I felt quite sorry for him. I was quite surprised at how harshly marked he was. And having met him several times, obviously in the showbiz scene and as a fellow journalist, you know, I knew how utterly nervous he was. And I think it's going to be a bumpy ride for all the contestants this year. The judges are really focusing on the footwork on the floor, and absolutely everyone needs to sort of up their game. But it was absolutely fabulous. You know, more than 100,000 sequins involved in the show that we saw last night, and it can only get bigger and better.
I think that that first programme is always the opportunity for people more to decide who is likely to get the chop rather than those that are going to make it through to the glitter ball. Because, I mean, you know, so many people are so close with their marking last night, and so many of them clearly show the opportunity of getting better as they go week after week. But it is usually quite easy to find, I think, who's going to be thrown out. What do you think?
Well, so I think Ross King, definitely, we'll see him probably go in literally a matter of weeks. I think Stephen Dennis, who played Paul Robinson for many years on our screens in Australian soap Neighbours, I don't think he's going to be in it for much longer either. Again, I felt quite sorry for him, and also having to dance to the theme tune of Neighbours was just pure genius.
GB News, the People's Channel.